The new year in World of Tanks is starting with a bang. Because very soon, something really extraordinary is coming. Meet the first new tech tree branch after Update 2.0. American Autocannon Medium Tanks. The new branch sprouts from the familiar T20 and includes 4 vehicles, topped by a Tier 11. The path to the branch's tip starts with the Ares 75. As with all vehicles in the branch, the number reflects the autocannon's caliber. This support tank will help you learn the basics of guns without reloading and with a thermal overheat control mechanic. As the tier increases, so does the combat power. The larger caliber of the Ares 85 lets it deliver on its potential more effectively. The Ares 90 raises the battle performance bar even higher. Its gun causes greater damage. The mobility is typical for medium tanks, and the armor, while not the most robust, can take a few hits. At the top of the tree is the Ares 90C. This tank combines top characteristics with high damage per minute and a fiery nature. And of course, like all Tier 11 vehicles, you can fundamentally improve it with the upgrade system. The main feature of all vehicles in the branch is guns of a higher caliber than those of Czechoslovakian autocannon tanks. The fire rate is lower, but the higher caliber lets you cause significantly more damage per shot. The American vehicles don't have the usual reloading system. At the start of battle, or when you change the shell type, a belt of the selected ammo is loaded. Afterward, you can fire as much as you like until the gun overheats or your ammo runs out. This mechanic lets you control the fire rate. In some combat situations, it's better to fire single shots, chipping away at your opponent's HP. In others, you can unleash a barrage of fire to cause maximum damage in the shortest time frame. The choice is yours. Another important feature of the American autocannon tanks is the new thermal overheat control mechanic. Each shot generates heat. The higher the temperature, the greater the dispersion. The gun starts to cool soon after you finish firing. If the temperature reaches a critical level, the gun locks and cannot be fired until it fully cools. One more trait of the whole branch is reserve tracks. If the main track is destroyed, the vehicle isn't stopped and can keep moving at a slower pace. To fully immobilize the tank, enemies need to destroy the reserve track too. This chassis feature helps you stay on the move, searching for new tactical opportunities. American autocannon tanks are for you if you like to control the rhythm of battle. The vehicles are perfect for flanking. And from long range, they provide good support to allies. Even if they don't penetrate, they have the enemy feeling on edge with constant pressure. Just remember to stay balanced and avoid the gun overheating. Choose your fire rate wisely. Don't take risks and keep an eye on the temperature, and high DPM is yours. As is the blast you'll have firing. Meet American medium tanks with autocannons. Stay in control, stay effective. The holidays are over, and the World of Tanks team is ready to present the large-scale Update 2.1.1, which brings you new tanks and mechanics, improved Tier 11 vehicles, sound and interface updates, varied modes, and enjoyable rewards. Let's start with the hottest edition, the new branch of American autocannon medium tanks. It sprouts from the T20 and includes 4 vehicles, topped by the Tier 11 Ares 90C. The newcomers differ from Czechoslovakian autocannon light tanks with a lower fire rate but larger calibers and higher damage, as well as the unique thermal overheat control mechanic. These vehicles don't have the usual reloading system. At the start of battle or after you change the shell type, a belt of the selected ammo is loaded, which you can fire without stopping, only pausing to prevent the gun overheating. In some combat situations, it's better to fire single shots, while in others, you should unleash a barrage of fire to cause maximum damage in the shortest time frame. The main thing to remember is that the hotter the gun gets, the greater the dispersion. If it overheats, the lock system will kick in, and you'll need to wait until it fully cools. One more feature of these vehicles is reserve tracks. Thanks to these, you'll keep moving if your main track is destroyed. The American autocannon medium tanks, topped by a Tier 11 vehicle, are for you if you like to control the rhythm of battle. But if you want to try some different gameplay, take a look at another 2 new Tier 11 vehicles. Let's start with the Japanese STK-2 heavy tank, which carries on the tradition of the Type 71. The new vehicle has great gun depression thanks to its hydro-pneumatic suspension, as well as good turret armor, high damage per minute, and active gun cooling mechanic. Thanks to the last one, the gun starts cooling immediately after a shot, and the accuracy is partially improved by the time it finishes reloading. When it is fully cooled, the dispersion is minimal, like that of the best snipers in the game. And after several shots, it goes to the level of classic heavy tanks and lets you fight comfortably in close combat. This makes the new Tier 11 Japanese STK-2 heavy tank effective from any range and in varied combat situations. The next Tier 11 vehicle is the Chinese PTZ-78 tank destroyer with solid fuel jet boosters. These turn the massive assault vehicle into an unpredictable and even more dangerous opponent. The shunting solid fuel boosters work independently of each other. Thanks to this, the PTZ-78 can make a bold attack or withdraw unexpectedly fast to defend itself. At the same time, when the vehicle is using the boosters, they don't stop it reversing. Strong frontal armor, a big HP pool, and a gun with good penetration and damage alongside the solid fuel boosters will help you fulfill the role of an assault TD with maximum efficiency. Another 6 Tier 11 vehicles will also suit their role on the battlefield better. These have received a number of changes based on the statistics we collected and your feedback. The ASXX-40T, Leopard 120, Object 432U, CS-67 Shakal, Hirschkäfer, and STRV-10712 have had their characteristics improved. They will be even more comfortable and effective to fight in. And now you can keep track of your achievements in combat on the battle results screen via the special Mission Progress tab. For instance, you can find out your progress in the new Battle Pass track. There's a legendary addition to the ranks of World of Tanks. In the new Battle Pass special chapter, expect nostalgic characters, cult quotes,
"Dead or alive, you're coming with me,"
and the shining armor of the new law enforcement defender, the OCP Peacekeeper, armed with a powerful gun that causes 440 HP of damage per shot. Important updates await you in the latest installment of Onslaught. You'll find expanded statistics in which you can see your progress for each day of the season. The Bond Shop has some additions. A new Tier 9 vehicle, the American LTC-2 light tank, as well as new improved equipment, the telescopic observation system, and tactical concealment net. Now you can head into battle with the Chinese 114 SP-2 tank destroyer with high alpha and a rotating turret. And you also have the opportunity to rent new vehicles. The Ho-Ri 3, Super Conqueror, and K-91. Erlenberg has been added to the map rotation, while Klondike temporarily leaves. Several maps have gotten selective improvements to make the competitive battles more dynamic and exciting. The audio design of Onslaught also continues to improve. The improved sound physics transmit the sound realistically, accounting for reflections on surfaces and bends of obstructions. Charge into battle and keep fighting for the main Onslaught reward. The Tier 10 Polish Ashbringer heavy tank with a unique style and a trained crew. And if you need a break from the tense battles, a few familiar modes await you in the new update. On February 2nd, Frontline will start in its familiar format, now with vehicle playlists available. Control your favorite Tier 8 vehicles and fight for valuable rewards on 3 epic maps. 2 arcade cabinet sub-modes also await. Snowballs, a fun firefight with sped-up vehicles. And Ice Age, with dynamic battles and dizzying skids on slippery maps. Have a blast and get rewards in the winter merriments. More good news. With the updates released, the opportunity to get the Outstanding Collector achievement remains in the game permanently. Collect all researchable vehicles from Tier 6 through 10 that were in the game before the release of Update 2.0 to get unique, honorable insignias. Log into the game to research new and improved vehicles, get rewards, and feel high-octane thrills in different modes. Let's battle!
Welcome to Media Break. Good evening, Delta City. Gangs are running wild as violence spreads through the streets. Officials assure citizens that Omni Consumer Products is working on a solution. We know how to deal with crime. The OCP Peacekeeper. Ready to know more?
All units, this is Reed. We have a 211 in progress, multiple armed suspects, active shooter situation. Move in now!
Murphy, get your metal ass over here!
Cop, OCP is sending you reinforcements.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
50M with the readjustment here. Is Illusia going to get another shot in towards the lower plate? Yes, that means one shot on towards the 50M. Is Max going to pick it up? Good shot in towards the cupola. It is the 1v1 we've been waiting for here, and he does it.
The OLS Season 5 is already here. The best teams are ready to head onto the battlefield. Who will you be supporting? Root for your favorites, follow their journey, and stand by them. With you on their side, they'll be unstoppable. You take hits together with them, and that means you go all the way. Behind every vehicle is a personality whose quick thinking and precise actions can change the outcome of battle. Victory is 100 shots and maneuvers, plus 1,000 emotions on the other side of the screen. Support your favorite OLS team. Be by their side. Together, until victory.
Hello gamers and welcome to the Surfshark OLS Season 5. Moff, first time on the broadcast, welcome. How did you find Playday number 1?
It was interesting, best of fives, you know. We've got a couple of upsets, CTR beating Weekend in day 1. That definitely was a surprise, but it just goes to show, you know, anyone can win in a best of 5. It's such a short format. Anyone, you know, it's anyone's guess, and that's usually why I always come undone with the prediction game early on.
Well, so far, Moff, you're even with key hand, so that's at least something, right? Nonetheless, yeah. Playday 1 out of the way with 1 upset potential here today for a few more. But first up, let's look at the Surfshark sponsor, thankfully, for the league. Before we jump into the action, let's thank our sponsor, Surfshark. It's the official sponsor of the Onslaught Legends Series League Season 5, and we're happy to have them supporting the tournament. Surfshark is a VPN service designed to help you stay secure online, protect your privacy, and keep your connection private no matter where you are. Whether you're gaming, traveling, or just browsing every day, it's a simple way to stay protected online. One of the great things about Surfshark is that it works on unlimited devices, so you don't have to worry about using it on your phone, tablets, different devices. It works on every single one of them. It's fast, reliable, easy to set up, which is exactly what us gamers care about. And because of that, Surfshark has prepared a special offer specifically to you guys at home watching. Just go to surfshark.com/OLS or use the code OLS at checkout. You get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. That is surfshark.com/OLS or use code OLS upon checkout to get those 4 extra months added to your plan. Make sure to check them out. Thanks to them for sponsoring the league. And now let's get back to some tournament action, shall we?
Well done, Ducky. Well done. That was a good ad read right there. And you know, I personally can vouch for Surfshark. When we were in China, although I wasn't on the broadcast, while we were in China, I used a different VPN in order to be able to download Surfshark because the VPN I had at the time wasn't working, and Surfshark did actually work in China, so that's a massive plus point for them. Also, being from the UK, having a VPN is something that people like to have these days.
Yeah, indeed. And this is, of course, the schedule of playdays. We're now onto the second playday, which will also matter for your token drops. We have one more broadcast this week. It's Sunday. It's Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, except for, of course, that 1 week where we only have a Tuesday. This is currently the prize pool distribution. We explained it on match day number 1 already. It's a bit different than season before. This time around, we're giving more money for the regular season placement, so increasing the importance of every single match. And now you can at home also, of course, increase the prize pool by purchasing one of the bundles. The base bundle, the advanced bundle, but the one that many are looking forward to, the Oracle bundle, where if you correctly predict the team that is going to win the OLS, you will be getting that upgraded badge and style. Of course, you, unlike last season, can wait a little bit longer if you want to buy it until basically the playoffs start. You have to decide. Now, for the token drops, of course, 5 tokens today, 5 more on the weekend, but do keep your eyes peeled on that last weekend. 5 plus 5 times 2, so 10, and that will get you towards that Kanoran Jagdpanzer, for example, or the KV-122 from the token store. If that is not what you want, there's the puddle, there's a style, consumables, there's a little bit of everything for anybody that could want. And these are the current standings after Playday number 1. Yeah, not too much to read into this just yet.
Yeah, there's really nothing going on here. We got 8 teams. 4 of them lost, of course. A couple of teams picked up 1 or 2 points because they were able to lose in tiebreak. I'm not sure why one team... they have 2 points because if you win in tiebreaker, you get less points as well. So that is the way it is. CTR were second in the standings. I'm not sure they're going to stay there. I mean, they might after today because they're playing against Volgas, which I think many people consider to be the weakest team coming into the league.
Indeed, if CTR wins that cleanly, which for them would be great towards that phase 2, they will stay at least first or second, you know, depending. But first up, it is Cashback versus Weekend. Historically, Cashback always kind of struggles with these Ukrainian teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a talking point you bring up a lot, and honestly, I find it hard to remember that being the case, but of course Darkside was a problem for them in the past. Look at these jerseys, by the way, they are fantastic, and it definitely looks a lot better, makes us seem more professional when all the teams have a jersey on them.
Yeah, indeed, Cashback there with the gold, and gold is what they want to get this season. That first place is what they're hunting for. They have added some reinforcements in the off-season with Aphrodite, who has been performing very well, and then Weekend on return, a team last season sneaking into those playoffs and doing a phenomenal job as well this season. Looking for a little bit more than that, though.
Yeah, and, you know, saying that, they got off to a pretty bad start, right? And losing to CTR, CTR is one of those teams coming into the league you thought might be an upset team, but it's just the way that Weekend went down. Didn't look good. Cashback, of course, they've got those brand new reinforcements. Aphrodite was one of the top damage dealers of the league. He was in Yogurt before, another Ukrainian team, but you know, when one Ukrainian team falls apart, the others just gobble them up. They just take what they can get and they build in their own roster.
Yeah, they just absorb the leftovers, and Aphrodite was a good addition for Cashback. We saw him already in the last Playday, the very first Playday as well. Put up some good numbers, and I think he also played Winter Invitational with them and put up some good numbers there as well. So, community prediction, though, very heavily in favor of Cashback.
Yeah, that's quite extreme, though. 89%. Let's just round up to 90%. 9 out of 10 people think that Cashback are going to be winning this game. And, you know, I agree that I think Cashback is going to win, but I don't think that, didn't think that it would be so one-sided. I think is it possible that the vote is skewed because people really just didn't like the look of Weekend's form against their first opponent?
Yeah, I think just the way that Weekend, you know, lost is probably heavily influencing the way that people have voted upon this prediction as well. But that is just one Playday, though. When we take historic results between Weekend and Cashback, Weekend does not have a bad track record whatsoever.
No, but I think most interesting thing going into this match, apart from the fact that it's a Ukrainian derby, is we're getting that brand new map, Ruinberg. We did not see it in the first Playday, and now we're finally getting to see what the teams can bring on it. It was introduced to the normal Onslaught ladder grind, the ELO grind, for all of us to play at home, and it was in the last season and this one as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what is different about a competitive match versus a casual one.
For sure, I'm really curious to see how the meta on Ruinberg differs from the random onslaught queue that all of us participate in, and looking forward towards really what it's going to bring in that regard. So then following up with Ensk and Tiebreaker, Himmelsdorf, 3 city maps potentially in a row. This could be very, very quick. Although Ruinberg MOV, it doesn't really lend itself towards this really quick engaging pushes, no? Unless both teams decide to go straight for that center part of the map.
Yeah, it's an interesting point that you bring up. I was thinking about it, like trying to think how teams in a competitive format will play. And because to cross to any sort of aggressive position, you're going to get punished for the crossfire angles. You have to cross so much open ground. That entire middle lane of Ruinberg, it makes it almost impossible to push up unspotted without taking damage. So I do think, or I do agree with you, that it might be quite a passive map.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I think we see a lot of V4s and potentially not the fastest of gameplay prediction-wise, though. All of you going with a 3-1 for Cashback, me myself going with a 3-2. I just, like I said, I keep saying it, Cashback always struggles with those Ukrainian teams. I feel like this will be no different.
Yeah, I mean, I went for the 3-1 mostly because of what I cited before, which is that the form from round 1 against CTR did not look good from weekend, whereas Cashback's match against W was far closer, right? So I feel like they're going to have the upper hand, but then again, it is best of 5.
Round number 1 between Weekend and Cashback. Weekend coming out with the Type 5, the K91, the Object 140, the Force Beat, and the Triple E4.
Meanwhile, Cashback bringing Mouse 140, Bliska, Foshby, and also Triple E4. So you're right on the money with that. The E4 is coming out strong. It's not really surprising. Nothing really changed in the meta from last season to this one. There were no real buffs or nerfs to the abilities that made any kind of significant impact. So it's not surprising that the E4, the classic choice, is coming back out.
No, I mean, E4, absolutely a tremendous pick for this map altogether, so not surprised that it's being picked in at least threefold here. Initially, seeing the split, Cashback orientating themselves mainly towards that city, with almost basically all of their tanks, just 2 of them going right towards one line. Weekend, a little bit more split up though as well, rocking that double medium setup with the K91, of course.
Yeah, look at Isa just pushing forwards here. Ooh, he's spotted going into this position. I don't think that would be intentional. I'm sure that his plan was to stay unspotted. The Foshby always excels when it's a surprise to your opponent, and his former teammate Squeezy putting in a shot for free as well. So IZ just trying to figure out, he's in a bit of no man's land, trying to figure out how he wants to reposition.
I mean, I think he can sit pretty safe there though at the same time, no?
Yeah, he can, but I just think that his initial idea was to be completely unlit, and that's not the case currently. K91 of Evil just poking around on the 0 line. He's not going to find anything though, as pretty much the entirety of Cashback is just camping in the city.
Yeah, I mean, both teams taking it very slowly and methodically. This is kind of what we expected, right, for this. It's just really hard to push against all of these angles that, of course, you may not be aware from the random battles. You can see the opened up areas between the 6 and 7 line, adding a lot of more nooks and crannies, angles you need to clear, E4s that are holding positions as well. And it seems right now both teams are kind of content with the part of the map they have taken. Of course, you have that K91 140 in position as well to punish any middle aggression. Brainbreaker will be doing that solo cap, but we both know that is not going to be just enough to win.
No, that strike that Cano has will be able to reset, and because of the angles that they have down that middle lane, they're going to realize that Brainbreaker can realistically only be in one position on the cap, so blind striking and getting that reset should not be of any significant issue. But, you know, Squeezy taking what looks to be a blind shot. He's knocked down a tree, and he's perma-tracked blind. They don't seem to realize that they've been connecting. Imagine if they just kept blind tracking him there on the drive wheel. Squeezy could have been in a bit of trouble, but we'll be fine. Starts collecting another strike, and you know, this is going pretty much exactly as you expected, Daki. It's a very slow game.
I mean, unless both teams head to the same part of the city, this is kind of within expected values. But now you can see the K91 on the prowl a little bit, on the hunt, looking for some new angles, adjusting across and finding potentially even that E4 of Aphrodite. Seems to be in a position where Evilok is able to get a shot or two in towards his vehicle. Does get one, and right now, I mean, chip damage is still damage nonetheless. It adds a little bit, especially because that K91 always wants to have that mini strike, and he's getting closer towards that one.
Yeah, you're closing the net a little bit on your opponent, but I don't think it's really any significant problem for Cashback. I think another thing that's interesting about this map, though, that we didn't point out is there are actually no radar towers. So everyone is flying blind. The only information you get is by actually pushing forwards to try and spot your opponent.
Yeah, the Ruinberg is one of the few maps that actually doesn't have a radio tower available. I think the other one is Safe Haven, right? It's not that many of them without a radio tower.
Yeah, it might just be those two. Initially, Tundra came to mind, but then I remembered that there's like 3 info towers on that map. But 30 seconds left on the cap here. Kano still has a strike available, and as he has not used it yet. Cashback might consider double stacking, but I doubt it because they know that if they do double stack, that's just going to be more strike damage.
15 seconds left on the cap. I mean, of course, the big strike comes out, but ideally, you want to take that damage from the highest health point tank you have within your lineup. The mouse is just that, so Brainbreaker can take these shots, no problem. Even gets a level 3 heal, of course. Damage received is one of the things you get points for even on a mouse, right? Because of its role, and also capping generates prestige points, I think, that generate the heal. So, I mean, honestly, ideally for him taking that damage. Keeps the strike out of the big end lineup.
He can basically just keep re-healing himself permanently. He has an endless supply. The watering hole to just farm those prestige points. He can basically go back up to full HP. But right now, I think we should start talking about what the draw rules are for OLS, the tiebreaker rules.
So, looking at it, the draw rules, it goes like this first, guys. I think the first, well, I know the first rule is kills. Whoever has the more kills wins the round. The second one is damage dealt. And what is it? What's the third one, Moff? We never have to use the third one, though.
I don't remember, to be honest. It's almost, because it's so unlikely you actually get to it.
I mean, both teams doing equal amount of damage, it would be very, very rare. A good peek there from Hellrap, though, punishing Brainbreaker as well, and Little had left the position. He's peeking out now. It takes one from Trash Panda, who's covering the other angle, and I think so far Weekend is going to be winning on damage dealt, so Cashback needs to start looking about how to approach this.
Yeah, I remember that Brainbreaker has actually healed back his HP as well, so even considering the HP that he has presently, it's actually even more damage in favor of Weekend at the moment, and that's probably why they're not really looking to try and do anything, but Cashback definitely are, though. There is a repush across towards the 0 line. Repushing the 0 line is very, very tricky, though. If they get spotted out early, it's going to be very tough.
Now Cashback starting to get spotted out. The mouse already moving through with Brainbreaker. Gets peeked by Trash Panda. Gets a shot. Evilok needs to be careful though in that K91 in a bit of a pickle. Not the greatest position for that tank. He's going to be backing off from there. He's getting pressured by Liberty though in the Forge B, who gets a numerous shots on him. One more and he's down, and Evilok goes down in that K91. Caught out of position by the repush from Cashback on the field, and they find great success not only in damage dealt but also of course in picking up that ever so crucial kill. And now I said in a little bit of trouble in the Forge B as well. Will hug the side of the building, got a pretty big heal. The strike not picking him off either, so he will survive just barely. But Kano there taking a shot from Mindbreaker, who's hunting as well. And honestly, Kano and I said pretty dead in this scenario. Mindbreaker will get one and Squeezy will get the other. He does miss on the first, but Mindbreaker in the meantime picking up his kill. Squeezy will find the second, and Weekend getting dismantled by this quick repush from Cashback on the field. Don't seem to be too ready for that one. Great success there from Cashback. A little bit of pressure, got it, catching one or two players out of position.
Bamboozled, one might say. They just did not, they were not ready for that at all. The timing was absolutely perfect from Cashback. The timing of catching Evil in his K91, he was in the middle of the open, and they all just fall now. Just they completely collapse. Weekend from what looked like a decent position where they were actually leading in the HP of just a very nice simple repush from Cashback, well coordinated, and everything just collapses.
No. Yeah, it's just, it's really weird because they even knew they were ahead, right? Let's be real, on a map like Ruinberg, there is no surprises in the HP difference, which means that they knew that they were ahead, and then having the K91 be so out of position. It was a good move from Cashback, don't get me wrong. They exploited that to the absolute max, but the fact that K91 was even there was a bit surprising.
I think he was intending to collect the strike, right? I mean, to my mind, that's the only reason that makes sense that he would be there, apart from the fact that he might want to spot the cross down the lane.
Yeah, and then, you know, the Forge B, if Liberty comes out, the Bliskovitz as well, the 140, they find him, and then honestly the field is underdeveloped and undefended. So really good move from Cashback, also down to the fact that they realized they were behind, so they kind of had to make the move, because on pure draw rules they would lose. But so far, not really a big surprise on the way Ruinberg is played, right?
No, not really. It's kind of disappointing that, like, I almost expected this to be the case, and it's kind of the same vibe with Tundra, right? Maybe, you know, I don't want to, like, throw the towel in, like, so early, because it's just one round on a brand new map, but I don't know, maybe a mid-season map swap could be in order, because if every round is like this on Ruinberg, and kind of like Tundra as well, it was very slow-paced games, it was not good. But Mindbreaker coming top damage for the side of Cashback, doing 4.8. Not really, there's not really much of a difference between top to bottom, apart from Brainbreaker, who was, of course, just tanking all the damage for everyone else.
So, I mean, the mouse doesn't really do much, but he's used as a battering ram, which is kind of expected there. You know, you see the K91 doing 640 damage. The real problem for the weekend side, of course, is over there across the board. Pretty good damage, but it's really hard to recover on such a small map from losing a tank. Also, I've been informed of the third draw rule is fastest kill.
Ah, that's interesting. And then after that, who knows? I don't know. I mean, at some point, I've read all the rules, and they do just like roll a dice at some point if there's too many draw conditions. But
I do not want to know what's the odds of having the same amount of damage.
Yeah, it would be like 0.00.
Yeah, so you would have the same amount of damage, and then at the same second you would make the first kill. Honestly, I don't think we'll ever see it.
Mm-hmm. It's highly improbable, but it's not impossible. Maybe one day that will be the case. But as it is, it's Cashback who take the first round up 1-0. Have to say, I kind of expected this, and you know, to be honest, Ruinberg was picked by Cashback, right? And this could very much be like a good home map for them, because we know that they like to play a bit of a more slow, methodical style, whereas Weekend, we've seen it so many times, they like to just drive straight into their opponent, and perhaps the map doesn't lend itself to that, so they're going to feel a bit restricted.
Yeah. Second lineup though between Weekend and Cashback. Cashback BZ T57 Type 5 140 double push B and an E4.
Meanwhile, Weekend going with IS7 Type 5 140 double 430U and double E4. So I think it's safe to say that we would expect Weekend to do something a bit more aggressive in this second round, probably pushing mid with 430Us because of their hold down capabilities. But likewise, Cashback, Fosh Bs, they are really great at pushing and clipping into your opponent.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a more aggressive lineup, right?
Maybe. Brainbreaker going towards the city by himself, just to do some anchor. There's a bit of quite a split from Cashback here, and if they're not careful, they could get caught out early on here, but you see just how passive Aka is in that BZ-75. If they did try to push over towards him, there's going to be a crossfire of at least 4 or 5 different guns. Flash pushing forwards, Aka responds in kind, and Flash will bleed the HP for the position. I don't know if he can actually reliably capture the strike here. Puts in a good shot towards Squeezy though. W Flash also one of the new recruits between these two teams. He came over from, I believe it was Kirilo, and he was the Inspire player for that team, and he was probably the only shining light from that Kirilo team in Season 4 of OLS.
Indeed, that is the case. But again, a little bit of a slower setup. This time around, though, Weekend again taking over the field. Went from 2 mediums to 3 mediums for them. And Cashback will be having the city once more. So it's pretty slow all around.
Yeah, but they don't want to commit just yet, though, because they're not exactly sure where the lineup from Weekend is. And they are spotted immediately by... Look how far away IZ is, and that he spots both of the Fosh Bs. And he is completely tucked in. There's no way that they can do anything against him. And I say that, but they're actually managing to clip out on towards him. This is a misplay from IZ. What is happening? How has he managed to get caught out in this situation? I thought he could just sit completely safe there, but that is not the case whatsoever. 33 HP remaining.
I said in that E4 getting blasted, and again a weekend player getting caught off guard. You did mention that this is Cashback's map pick, of course, Mov, and so far they're showing that they're able to exploit maybe Weekend's unawareness of those angles, and those Fush Bs paying off as well for the side of Cashback. And now Aka looking, hunting, and seeing Flash in probably not the greatest of position, but now those medium tanks are starting to arrive back on towards the field. You can see on the 8 line, the 9 line, and the 0 line, they are arriving for 30U 140. Aka realizes and is like, okay guys, maybe I don't do this. Kano's actually going straight up and over and gets absolutely deleted for this one. For Speesty 57s, they say hello. Aka is well protected in this one. Squeezy behind that fountain is dropped low, but in return he's gonna find Evil as well. They both fluff the shot, so Evil maybe can get one more out in that 4-2 Facehugging as well. Squeezy needs to find this now. The 4-2 and Facehug not that easy to bend, but Squeezy with a spare second finds it nonetheless. Hellrap will finish off Squeezy, but the rest of his team is basically already in the grave as the Fush Bees are coming off of reload. Trash Panda surrounded, and Weekend on Ruinberg. Their first appearance here, not a story to write home about. They're going to lose it 2-0 against Cashback.
Yeah, this is just pure pain and suffering for Weekend right now. This is not a good start to this match, or just the OLS in general. Season 5 is not really where they want to be right now. They want to go back to Season 4 where they were dominating Cashback and winning in those playoffs to snatch 3rd place away from them. But Cashback, this is a renewed team. Squeezy back in the lineup. They're taking it up 2-0 now.
Yeah, and of course, this also means that in the best of 5, 2-0, it's a match point for Cashback, which means that one more round and they will be closing out this match. Good stuff from Ruinberg. It all starts again with a, what you could say, an unforced error, right?
Yeah, the reason I was so surprised by Ized getting caught out is because he was relatively near this little cubby hole that you can tuck yourself into, and that's where I thought initially that's where he was posted, but he was actually a little bit further back than that, which is not safe. He was completely in the open. As we saw, he lost all of that HP to those Fosh Bs, so just individual player mispositioning there. And even after that, the reaction from Weekend was a bit desperate, right? They felt like they had to make a reaction because they knew that IZ was just going to die to strike, and then they would just be into a 6 versus 7 without anything really to show for it or trade. But I just want to bring it back to what I was talking about before the game started. This lane through the middle of the map, you can shoot all the way from one end to the other. And Kano, when he crossed through, you think that you're pushing into just 2 guns, but he got blasted by everyone in the side.
Yeah, Squeezy there, only doing 781. Honestly, got caught out of position a little bit as well, but his payoff was 2 medium tanks, so...
Yeah, I mean, if you do no damage, but they sacrifice 3 guys to try and kill you, then that's fine, right? Like, it's like in Onslaught Random Queue, you know, if the entire enemy team pushes into you and they kill you, but they sacrifice the entire team just to kill 1 guy, then you're more than happy to make that trade.
Well, for Cashback, it was glorious all around, and those Force Bs actually paid off a lot in this battle. Good picks.
Yeah, it's definitely working out for them. I was a bit worried because I played a bunch of Fosh B myself on this particular map, and one of the things I struggled with is, it's like I said, that mid lane. It's very hard to surprise your opponent with the Fosh Bs because the mid lane spots everything. So anytime that you're aggressive, you're spotted early in the Fosh Bs. But Cashback, they make it work. 2-0 on their own map pick. Weekend, they better hope they've got something prepared for Ensk.
They were a very good team on Ensk before, though. Like last season, on their Ensk was really, really good. They often play this lineup. What I'm thinking of now is like the triple BZ, double Bliska, like a 140 and something else, something quick and aggressive. And we're able, and I even have memories of them beating Cashback on it because of that quick and aggressive lineup.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing about that is that they even used it during Winter Invitational as well. And it's so funny because it's this team, it's so predictable and it's so obvious it's going to happen, but just the fear factor and the power of the Bliskowitzes combined with the pushing force and the 140, the Inspire, even if you know it's coming, it's still very hard to make the correct response.
Yeah, because it's such a good pushing lineup, but this time around the weekend not playing that. It's actually more cashback, that's more push heavy, but the mouse, the triple Bliska, and the triple Force B.
Yeah, that's a very cooking lineup, if we can say that. Double mouse from weekend, they might be in a world of pain against Foch Bs and Bliskowitzes to be honest. They got a very slow lineup with WE4 as well, Bliska, 140, and IS7. Cashback, they're not playing with an Inspire tank though, which is a bit of a rarity these days. You pretty much always can bank on a team taking that Object 140, but Cashback, they like the Foch Bs right now. They brought them in the first map, and they're bringing them again.
I mean, with triple Bliska as well, it's a pretty impressive lineup. We've seen this kind of push before, right? Where you push down the 3 line, you don't stop, and you kind of swing behind the enemy team if they are playing the eastern side.
Yeah, it's a very normal play to make, and you know, I mean, just look, when you see 5 of those guns driving towards you, double Bliskowitzer is spotted out. Aka gets lit in the Foch B as well, so that mouse of Lanquac, he definitely needs to be prepared for this push to come in. He might be about to melt. The rest of weekend is ready to receive though, so maybe Cashback, they just want to halt here.
Yeah, that's because honestly Flash did a good move there. I don't know if you guys paid attention there, but Flash, the I-7 you see in the northeastern side, he destroyed one of the rail carts. Now the rail carts in World of Tanks work in a simple way. They are an object, but no longer can you hide behind it. As in, you can get spotted through it. That's just the way it works. So he actually spotted them out driving the 3-4 line. So because of that, they actually had the early info and were able to set up for a potential south play.
Yeah, I mean, destroying the rail carts is definitely a play that you can make. Liberty trading out a little bit, pop to the ability, and not sure how much he's going to get back from that. Even that last shot was just before ability. The first phase of the ability, which means he's going to heal. If it's level 3, he'll heal back about, is it 75% or is it a bit less than that? I can't remember.
70%, I think. I think it's 70% with like 75 HP base heal as well.
It's 70 HP base heal if I remember correctly.
Close enough.
3 seconds left. 3 seconds left on the cap. Strike comes in to reset. W Flash providing that one there. Now Trash Panda is moving forwards. He has to close distance because they need to be able to reset the cap. But when you close distance here, this is what Cashback want. They want them to come close. They want them to fight against their Foch B so they can clip them. Trash Panda is driving forwards. He's got plenty of HP to bleed. He will block the cap. The rest of weekend now peeking into these other angles behind the houses. And Cashback, you know, they can definitely shoot back towards Lanquac and Evil, but it's kind of hard to stop them from farming you. Aphrodite has a good crossfire now as well. Cashback down about 3k, but to be honest, both teams are kind of trading even.
Ooh, Aphrodite there were not the greatest of peaks, taking some damage.
As I say.
Oh, Brainbreaker as well, kind of in the open on the field. Kano having some easy work, but of course, most of that was done while Brainbreaker was in the receiving part of his ability, just like Aka is right now. He wants to take the damage at this moment in time. The strike coming out, hitting home on 2. Aka actually switching towards Hellra because he cannot find a good angle on Evil Lock. That's a smart decision there. Now Mindbreaker peeking from one side, Little from the other. They want to get Evil out of the game. They do it. Aka now transitioning. They want to ignore this mouse as much as possible, but at the same time they cannot just let him be untouched. Squeezy in return, getting pushed on by 3, will fall. 4,000 HP lead for weekend. A gun up as well, with Liberty low and Aphrodite low as well. It's looking like Cashback haven't found the success they were looking for just yet. Kano getting chased down by Brainbreaker and Little, though that's that Inspire, a pretty crucial tank, getting picked up, isolated and taken down, but it's still 3,000 HP and a gun down as well. Aka coming off of reload though. In just a second he will find Hellra. Brainbreaker helping him out. He needs to be careful. He doesn't want to take the shot if possible, and he does take it, and the Foch B from that E4 drops him to below a 1-shot. But now 3 on 4, still potential here for Cashback, but it would be extremely hard for them to find too much in this one, because there is still a very healthy IS-7 as well. And of course Aka will heal a lot of this back, but the problem there is Brainbreaker is actually just going to heal just enough to go above 1-shot for the strike, right?
It's going to be close, but yeah, I think you're right. He will just about get over that 450 HP that the strike artillery strike does deal towards you, but it's such an uphill battle now at this point for Cashback. If they just manage to trade a little bit better at the end there, then they might have a slightly better chance. The problem is that a lot of HP is on Little, and the mouse, it's great at taking damage, but it's not really the ideal tank to have in an endgame situation. But Trash Panda is giving them an opportunity here by trading. Akka eats the strike while healing. He is going to heal again quite a lot of that back, which is at least decent. But, Weekend, they've still got such an HP lead, and W Flash, you can see, because there's only 3 guns left, he is completely free to just push straight in towards Brainbreaker, but Brainbreaker is trying to run around the strike, will not be able to do so. W Flash manages to find that kill, and that will be all she wrote for the first round of Ensk.
And we can hold on Ensk, and this all comes off of the back again of Flash, at least destroying the wagon. Good preparation there, spots out the city, spots this Cashback play, and because of that they're able to set up, and Cashback's lineup, it does well when pushing, but the slow game is not really ideal for Bliskavic's and Forsby, to be honest.
No, as soon as that push got halted by Weekend in the beginning, that's why it's such a gamble to make this kind of a play, because if you don't get the pick that you're looking for right at the start of the fight, it's a very tough long game, because these tanks, they're not built to play these slow games and trade 1 for 1. You want to go in, focus the fire, and grab a kill. W Flash, I mean, you said that he destroyed the rail cart. You can actually, like, the initial part of them pushing, you can actually spot them without even needing a rail cart. There is actually a gap to be able to spot it anyway, which I think he spotted the first 2. And I don't want to say it was GG at that point, but it almost felt like it was. Like, as soon as the jig was up, Weekend had the exact correct reaction. And but then again, Cashback, even up until the midpoint, I said that both teams were trading evenly, and then we had this like random moment where the Fosh B just suddenly started bleeding loads of HP for free in the field. He pushed up on a bad timing.
Yeah, for sure. It is Akka coming top though with 5.1 and his team, and on return Hanrab with 5.3 and 84. Good stuff altogether. Then you see a little bit of the issues on the bottom side for Cashback, Brainbreaker, Aphrodite, and Mindbreaker basically doing the same as the lowest damage dealer on Weekend, which is even Squeezy, Evolok getting 2.1, and then even Liberty. Like, it's pretty bad when 5 out of your tanks do less than the 6th player on the Weekend side, which was that Object 140. So good stuff there from Weekend. On Ensk, they got to do it once more. They want to bring it to a tiebreaker, but don't see why they couldn't. Cashback picking up their map pick to the 0. No reason why Weekend couldn't do the same.
Yeah, I think based on the history of our prediction game and the Onslaught Legends series, I think it's quite likely that Weekend will probably take it to tiebreaker, just because whatever I predict, the opposite seems to be the case. So, which I have tried to reverse engineer in the past as well by predicting the opposite of what I actually believe, but it still doesn't work. So
I really hope this becomes a tiebreaker. So I did like that.
I hope so too, because then I would be in, like, maybe my actual prediction wouldn't be correct, but like at least here I would be an oracle by saying that happens.
Right, but the only thing that matters is the prediction sheet, Moff.
As you keep reminding me.
What was your highest ranking so far in the caster prediction game across the season?
I beat Baby.
Yeah, but everybody beat
But
Baby.
no one knows that I beat him because he was in charge of the one that was providing the graphic to show the caster leaderboard, and he cut himself from the bottom, so no one knew how bad he actually did. Yeah. Because he was so biased towards W and Cashback the whole season.
Yeah, he was afraid of, wronging the wrong person. So, nonetheless, it was a slow end though from Weekend, like it's very different from what they're usually playing on this, which of course you gotta be able to play multiple styles, but that's where I still find them do best though.
Yeah, it's kind of, they have tried to move away into other playstyles, but fundamentally the pushing tactic is still the best card that they can play, right? So they still need to like develop the rest of their game to be at the same level, because if they did that, then they might as well be the best team in the league.
Last battle of regular time. Weekend with a BZ 140. Triple 430U, a Bliskovice, and a Foch B.
Meanwhile, Weekend going with BZ 140, triple 430U, Bliskovice, and a Foch B. Triple 430U was something that was popular back in Season 2, particularly with LTP, the French team, but definitely not on this map. That's definitely not something that we've seen before, but we are going to get a straight heads-up brawl on the field. Both teams moving everyone there.
Gonna be a big brawl. The 430U's being unspotted towards zero line as well. Now they get revealed, and Cashback, do they end up stopping? No, they're gonna go straight forward towards with the Bliskovices, and honestly, Weekend has a decent setup here to deal with that, and Cashback currently seem a little bit confused of what to do, where to go. They're starting to bail from those positions, swinging towards the left, trying to disengage, but Brainbreaker stuck behind a building. That building could be destroyed at any given moment. Hellrap needs to be careful in return when that BZ taking 1.6 to the face, taking 2k to the face, even a little bit over eager, taking one more drop towards 582, but a Brainbreaker trying to boost out of there. He knew his life was on a knife's edge, and that knife edge will end up being the end of him. And now Weekend with a pretty disastrous advantage if they are able to exploit it. Now moving back in, swinging with the entirety of their team, trying to overwhelm the positions, and they will find Aphrodite as well. Hellrap, who was low, is going to go down, but Aphrodite should be falling here as well. The HP going blow for blow, but nonetheless, Weekend with that DPM advantage, a strike coming out as well. Trash Panda still in the damage receiving part of the ability, is happy with that. Will not survive though. Liberty puts him down. It's a 4-on-4 with Cashback leading in HP, and currently it's looking actually not that bad for them anymore.
Yeah, and look at these 430Us, they're just chasing across the middle of the open, bleeding all the time. Aka, is he going to get the kill? He does not low roll, he will manage to find that one, and it's important. And Cashback, it looked like they were in trouble early on, out of position, but Weekend, they just bit off more than they could chew. They were just too over-eager, pushing through the open, and Cashback managed to shut it down.
Unfortunate there, I think, at the end of the day, you know, they got Brainbreaker, but Hellrap was really low as well in return for that, so I don't think he did that much more than Brainbreaker, right? So that kind of evens things out, and then the repush, they did not find enough from that, and of course Bliskovice is a great tank as well in a pure fighting, you know, because it has incredible DPM as well, compared to those 430Us even. I really thought that Weekend had massive advantage here, but I want to see the damage. If Hellrap does only like 1 or 2 shots, I feel like we can already pinpoint the kind of a problem for them. He needs to stay alive for a while.
Yeah, I think maybe in his mind he thought, okay, we're going to push because they're in a bad situation, but the rest of the team was not ready to push at that moment. So, and that's problematic because the BZ, you want it to take the damage, but you don't want it to take it for free before your actual push has come into effect. And you're right, if the BZ doesn't have HP, then there's not really any point of it existing as a tank. That's the entire reason that you bring it to your lineup, because it can just push in, tank a bunch of shots for the guys that are actually supposed to do the damage. And it seems like I counter-jinxed myself or something, but I actually got prediction right.
Yeah.
And, that warms my heart.
I feel robbed a little bit even, Moff. Huh?
Yeah, I think you definitely were, for sure. I think this was Weekend's round to lose, and it's a problem for them because not only do they lose the match, but they're not even going to take us a tiebreaker, so they're still going to be on 0 points to start the season.
Yeah, it's for them a bit of a disaster right now to start it off with like this, especially because, you know, the first match they should have won. This one they could have brought it to a tiebreaker and secured at least a point. So nonetheless, it's pretty bad. But damage-wise though, Moff, you know, the fact that I said was even less than Hellrap is also really a worrisome part.
Yeah, that is definitely a curiosity. I'm not too sure where he was posted
really
up, but
good numbers,
especially when the Blisker, Squeezy again. I mean, we mentioned he came back into this Cashback lineup. He moved back into his home team after the little adventure with W in China, and you know, I think this is where Squeezy was always meant to be, right? The inspired player for Cashback for Ukrainian team. You can see it just works.
It just works, and work it did for Cashback. 3 points for them in the bag, but plenty more points to be handed out today. We have 3 more matches waiting for you, but before that, we're going to take a quick break, get yourself a snack, watch some replays, and we will be right back with the action after the replays.
Hello everyone and welcome back. Well, what a first match. The Ukrainian derby already out of the way, and we have another big match, Hit versus W, waiting for us. Pretty good start into the day.
This is going to be an interesting one, Phil. Still a little bit left on my hunger after the first one, you know, like, especially because I'm now losing in the prediction game. Very sad, you know. But it is what it is. Hit versus W. W, a team with a good comeback. First play day, picking up 3 points as well. Piotr facing off against his old teammates. A little bit of rivalry, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, also Mentos against his old team, if you go a bit more back in time. But definitely an interesting one. From what I can see, Pan's Fury is back. I was told he was having some stuff on Tuesday, so that's why he did not play. He will be returning today. I think that's definitely something that will help Hit as well, even though they obviously won 3-0. And Shekova seems to be on the bench again today.
Unbelievable. Jakeva, professional bench warmer, I guess. This W team, yeah, with Piotr but Lukin added to the mix now, hunting for a good result. So far, they have beaten Cashback. It wasn't a clean victory, but it was a victory nonetheless.
Yeah, Ketsai here coming in with pretty great stats. He was obviously on the team that won the Winter Invitational, where those stats are being taken from. We decided for the first 2 days we will not take any live stats because it was very little battles played, but I checked and he is actually the player with the highest KD and the highest DPG of day one. He had like 4.4k and he died once, had 4 kills, so 4 KDA. The only player that so far did not die in day one is actually Jakova, but he also only played 1 round.
He's just going to be topping the charts this way, Phil, you know?
I mean, he didn't have a kill, so, you know, he still has a 0 KD.
That's besides the point. I'll put him in one more in a round that they're guaranteed to win, right?
And give him all the kills.
Exactly. Smart, Phil. I like it.
What do you think about the prediction? Roughly 80% in favor of Hit. Do you think that's realistic?
I think so. Hit is a very good team during the regular season. It's in the playoffs that they haven't really been able to put their mark on an OLS yet. It has slipped through their fingers more often than not. Basically every time.
With W, it's kind of the opposite, right? They had a bunch of terrible regular seasons. They missed the playoffs twice now, both times becoming 5th place. And I think the 2 seasons where they won, they also didn't have the greatest regular seasons, right? Once they had a lower bracket run from 4th, and I'm not even sure the other one. Were they 4th twice in regular season?
I think they were 3rd, no? 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah, I think that's possible.
I know they didn't win the regular season, but I don't think they were 4th in that one either.
I think they won in tiebreaker against the 2nd place team or something like that, and then made it through the upper bracket, but it was a very close affair, for sure.
Map?
Yeah, Ghost Town.
Ghost Town is
what do
an
you think?
interesting one. I think it's actually my favorite map in OLS when I'm thinking about it.
I mean, it always has like the nice surprise of having someone play with potentially a double light or something like that, which can then spice it up. And we had a bunch of interesting pushes. I remember Hit and Run had some pushes where they basically just didn't even push through the into the cap, but basically through it. Yeah, caster predictions, everyone going in favor of Hit and Run. Moff predicting it to be a tiebreaker win. We'll have to see. Obviously, points are being distributed depending on how one-sided you win. So if you end up in a tiebreaker, you're only getting 2 points, and you share that point with the other team. W looks like they pick only 1 light tank. Hit and Run, though, with double bed chat. What do you feel about that?
The double batch shot can work, but it can also play against you. We'll see how they decide to execute it. But we saw, I think, yeah, it was Cashback with the double bat on 0 line. Super quick, super aggressive, killing the guy on the Eastern Strike. So sometimes they can be great, but they're also still very, very squishy. They're doing it without lights, so they're backing off with their BZs even, trying to bait Kloof's plane out. He doesn't use it, however, but they cannot know that.
Yeah, I mean, Kloof is moving onto the field side. It's something we see very often, basically a CS or something similar being sent towards the strike. I have to say, I don't like the 140 there.
It's just there to try and deny the strike, which is Franek, but he's not going to be able to do it. Nepal is picking it up. And now the BZs are coming for hit and run on towards the outside. They're all spotted out. And can they do something against Franek is a good question. Double Bat taking 0 line. They're facing off against Double Bat and a T100 of their own. So Ios and Mentos and Klurf may even go for this at some point. Or Ios and Mentos might clip out towards Franek. The future currently is unknown, but W is in a pretty good position to deal with this initial aggression. However, Itox, a little bit over-eager, ends up taking quite a bit of damage for that as well.
Yeah, you can see the batches there. Monster as well took quite some damage, so not the safest position for them. You remember Piotr was playing this position before in the IS-7 today, in the E100. Big push coming, and the shots on Itox so far not really connecting.
Two of the BZs actually missing out on that one. Panzerfuhrer and DJ, I think, fluffing the shot. So now they're going to have to take another volley. Ketsai dying in the meantime on the 0 line in that batch shot. Monster not doing much better, getting pressured by Ios and the T100 of Klurf. 2 batch shots down for the side of Hit and Run, who are leading in HP, but Franek is not looking like he's going to make it that much further anyways. He's running away, stuck behind a broken pillar now, trying to back off. Nepal holding the angle, and so far not that great for a Hit and Run.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is that they will have the ongoing Inspire of Franek for 10 more seconds, so maybe that can help a tiny bit here and there. DJ not getting the reload onto Lukin, who picks him up. Also one of the new players, by the way. And yeah, W now with a significant HP advantage, roughly 3k up. Most importantly as well, 2 tanks, of which they have a light tank still to spare. So I feel like this is very difficult now for Hit to even have a chance of coming back to like a winnable position, not even talking about winning.
I'd say impossible for them to bring it back. I mean, they have 3 tanks left versus 6 from W. W had a really good setup here against this initial aggression, especially the fact that they had enough batch shots to counter the 0 line as well, right? If Hit and Run, which they did at some point, tried to repush that, they ran into a wall of Klurf, and then the double bat behind them, which were able to eliminate Ketsai very quickly, and Monster not long after as well. Looking in back and off towards K0 also helped towards this initial strat of them playing the outside, and as a result they end up picking up a very convincing round. The first one against Hit and Run. Good stuff there from W.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I'm not sure if I necessarily like put this on very well played by W, or if it was just that I didn't like what Hit was doing. In the end, it doesn't really matter, right? Well-deserved round for them. I think it's fair to say that they did a good job with the whole coordination of distributing the damage. We saw Itox at the beginning and so on. So it worked out for them, right? It was pretty good. But the question is, like, what does Hit do if they manage to pick up a tank there? Because it wasn't very like clear to me how they would have wanted to just like continue with this advance.
Well, they wanted to They wanted to catch something. This outside play is like you want to catch something close, for example, a heavy, or pick up the guy that's playing at the strike, but they weren't able to do any of that. So, I mean, W also failed miserably with this exact play against Cashback. So, in that regard, it's a 1-for-1. So, good stuff there. Looking as well, readjusting very well, 5.1k damage, good stuff. Ios 5k basically as well. Across the board, no real issues there for W, except for Itox being a bit overexposed in the beginning. But the double bounce definitely helped him survive.
Yeah, I mean, I can take a look at the damage blocked. It's exactly those 1.3k. Yeah, you mentioned it. Lucan, he shot 13, 13, 13. And also Ios in the batch at 14, 13, 13. So very good shooting. Yeah, I mean, Franek survived for kind of like longer than I expected. He did 3.4k damage, which is also not insignificant. But I don't know, this like very low armor defensive capability on the field and then not having a light tank is always a big risk.
Yeah, that light tank spotting out the double batch shot coming into zero line as well, because Klurf pushed up on there, and then on that part, on that bush line, was able to spot them. So they knew that this double bat from hit and run, which of course doesn't have the info required, right? They knew that double bat had 0 game impact, or would have 0 game impact in the long run, which is a tremendous advantage for W, right? With the T100, with the double bat, they always knew that double bat shot over there is going to achieve absolutely nothing.
No. And at the very beginning of the game, like, we saw fairly clearly the 5 mobile tanks of W versus the 2 kind of anchor tanks. There was Itox in the Type and Piotr in the E100. Those are the 2 tanks that ended up being destroyed by hit and run. But yeah, I mean, congratulations, you killed an E100, which did 4k damage, and the Type still did 2k. So, like, all the DPM tanks stayed alive, and I mean, the Type did 3 shots of damage, the E100 did, I think, 7 shots, so like, quite significant amount of damage with like 3.6k as well. This was not really a working formula.
No, it was not, but let's see what round number 2 brings for hit and run. They are a team, you know, they could lose 3 rounds and still win the next 3, so not too worried about them just yet.
I mean, if you lose 3 rounds, then you will not be able to win the next 3 because it's over.
Yes, you're starting to sound a lot like Kihan right now.
I mean, maybe it's like contagious. Okay, we have a very light setup from W. Piotr in the IS-7. And then we have a bunch of medium tanks, 2 light tanks with Klurf and IS. Hit and Run deciding to bring a Type 5 this time. T-Sec in the IS-7, 1 bat, 1 E50M, Inspire tank, Barbarian in the E4, and Monster in the light tank. Interesting to see that they switched who is playing which tank, because usually Franek is the Inspire player, but obviously a good Batchet player as well.
Now, split-wise, it's looking or shaping up to be a bit of a slower approach. W has Klurf going 0 line, and T-Sec is going to make it long before Piotr ever arrives in the IS-7, but Klurf should be able to reset this in return, right? But
yeah, I mean, depends on how T-Sec plays the position. There's a fairly good shot, but Klurf understands that the task is not to deal damage, the task is to make sure that he gets some decap. So Monster does the same, 30 damage on each side, now another 16. So the damage not really significant, but they're preventing the Arty Strike from being captured. Now the question is obviously, will either Piotr or T-Sec maybe be able to blind fire? T-Sec trying to shoot Piotr, or at least, you know, make sure that he gets the respot. Gets tagged from the back, puts one in, it loses 1 extra shot, the 140 there, making its gun work. And that is putting Lukin very, very close to the first Inspire rank as well.
Klurf has a plane, he's going to drop it on... He didn't drop it on T-Sec, he dropped it now on T-Sec though. He does get the reset, knocks out the driver as well. So Piotr now starting to take the tries, the strike, and the question is, how much HE shells do both of these light tank players have? Because the RHM is not known for its ammo capacity.
I can actually tell you. Monster has 3 left. And Ayos has...
It's Klurf.
Oh no, wait, it's Klurf. Klurf has 0 left.
Yeah, so that's big strike. I was already going to say that probably now W will use the big strike to reset on towards T-Sec. Mentos, they're taking some damage as well from Franek. I don't think they have a viable way of resetting T-Sec again unless Klurf is able to hit the tracks or something of this IS-7, which is not going to happen. So
Klurf is not even peeking.
Yeah, no, T-Sec will get it at the end of the day. So the strike battle won for hit and run. Worth the price?
Yeah, I mean, on the other hand, if you take a look at the damage, it's still pretty much what it was at the beginning. We have a Type 5 on the side of hit and run, so they started with some extra HP. And that obviously translates into them having to take a look what is happening here. We have a push, actually. It's Light and the K91. They don't know about the Batchet. Franek fired 1, so maybe his position is expected to be somewhere in this area. But Ketsa is there as well to help. And Nepal is not trading too well against DJ.
No. DJ and Ketsai in a very good position here. Nepal taking a shot from the outside as well in that Type 5 Panzer Fury, getting a outside angle. Ios on the runaway. That K91 of Nepal in a lot of trouble right now, getting peeked by DJ as well in the E50M. He hits the shot and Panzer Fury comes in from downtown, from that gap area, shutting that K91 pressure here for W. Ketsai now moving in towards the strike as well. And this move from W looked a little bit rushed even, but definitely not the right choice with those squishy little tanks pushing up onto line.
I like the decision of Ketsai to not go for the strike, because then you can get over peak, but he goes close, and now the two tanks from the middle, that's the E4 and Panzer in the Type 5, they have shots, and if they can put in like 1 or 2 shots here or there, that is significant damage onto especially the low armored vehicles like a Leopard or 140.
Yeah, ooh, Piotr bouncing, I think a second time even against Tisak. Tisak says thank you very much, and I don't think W has quite left anybody to cover him, only an RHM Panzerwagen to do so. Monster coming in as well, taking some shots. Piotr got a good face hug there against Tisak as well. Tisak then fluffing the shots, so W doing a little bit of a good work here. Doing some good work.
Keep in mind, like, Hit only has 1 light tank as well, so Monster cannot just stay outside, because if the RHM puts some HE into him, and Piotr obviously has the option of changing who he shoots at, he will not continue shooting the IS-7, but he will also put one into Monster then. This could be pretty dangerous. Monster takes another one, just as I had mentioned it. Down to 900, obviously the HP advantage still roughly 4k, but at some point it was 6.5.
Piotr now fluffing another one against Tisak. Both Tisak and Piotr not really having the greatest spin ratio.
Not have the reload.
No, but not the greatest spin ratio from either of these two. And now the Type 4 and the E4 on the cap, 15 seconds. No strike on any of the W tanks. No Leopard strike. The K91 obviously being dead means that Ios on the outside will have to be the one to do it. Klurf now taking 0 line. Ios peeking behind the bush.
Itox just did a shot into Franek and has a strike now. Like the small one, but still. It missed Barbarian, and that's it.
Too late, and Barbarian finds Ios either way, so it's gonna be 1-1 moving out of Ghost Town. But even if the reset was given, I mean, W has 4,000 HP left. Ios would have died. It would be near impossible to win that.
No, definitely a good second round here. It's important to say that the trading on the IS-7s was not really making the difference, I guess. But it was not clean, you mentioned it.
No, for sure not. But both Piotr and Tisak kind of bouncing a lot of shots, to be honest, is what we saw.
I mean, Tisak and Piotr will probably still have some damage because they were basically trading onto each other, both with like high HP tanks and so on. But yeah, doesn't really matter in the end if you get capped, right?
No, it doesn't. But 1-1 out of Ghost Town. Both teams not having the greatest of rounds. W with the K91 pushing up in the IHM. I mean, 1-2 being undefended is very rare.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really work out like this. We can take a look. It's not in the stats right now, but I'm just checking. Tisak has 2k block himself, and Piotr has 1.3. So both of them having some bounces. Tisak actually shooting 9 and then 7 penetration, so it's not too bad. Piotr had 9 and 6. I mean, we're still talking about okay-ish spin rate, but yeah, Nepal in the K91, he did not have a great game.
I mean, when you're being pushed up with the RHM and the K91 and there's a heavy force there waiting for you, yeah.
I mean, also, like, it's always very awkward to play the tank because you have the turret sitting in the back. At least nowadays, you have a fully traversable turret, so it's a bit easier, but yeah. Ghost Town being split 1-1. I think W will not be too unhappy with that. I think for Hit, it's still pretty much alright. Cliff, an interesting map with a very different dynamic. Usually we have like some fast-paced Cliff games with immediate action. Do you think we'll see a 268 this time from Hit and Run? They hovered it a couple of times, but then ended up not picking it.
I don't know. I'm not the greatest of fans of 268 on Cliff, personally. Like, where do you put it that it's like really effective? Where is it?
I mean, we see the only way we saw it successfully being used was when we had a push through the middle, and it was kind of like there to like pick up the lower HP tanks and like put in some kill shots. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely like in the current meta where you can like hold the angle as well for a bit more. Maybe not the greatest tank, considering that it also lacks the gun depression to play this middle cap position angles a bit, right?
You might as well pick a Bliska at that point, right? If you're pushing on mids, which is what we have seen, you know, like some 5BZs, Bliska and a 140, for example, is not too unorthodox. But Cliff coming out between these two, I'm not sure. I would give it favorable towards hit and run normally, but we'll see how it plays out. Lineups. Comparing first the number of BZs, 4 for W, 3 for hit and run, 1 CS for hit and run, 2 for W, both teams with an Inspire medium. Means the biggest difference here, of course, is that double Fury medium for the side of hit and run, the double E50M.
Yeah, a bit more DPM for hit and run, a bit more HP from the start, and like one of the extra heavy hitting guns for W. I think lineup-wise, that will not make the biggest difference. It will be a lot of decision-making all around this medium force, and to basically see if they can pick up something early. Might be that Monster takes the hill position, or he takes the small cabby driving around. We'll have to see.
First up, W, 7 tanks into the middle, only splitting off Klurf towards the F2 pocket position. Monster getting spotted out, is probably going to go for D4 next to the rock. 1 shot taken on Klurf, minus 400. It's the price you pay for crossing over the CS, going on the hill in the meantime. Unscathed and unshot. Now the triple BZ from hit and run, just playing it pretty passively. The 1-2 getting retaken as well by that E50M from hit and run, and now W pressuring the cap at 3. They are denying every strike right now, but they gotta be careful that Panzerfree Barbarian and T-Sec don't just go high and start peeking them from those angles.
Yeah, I mean, on the other hand, we can also just see one of the BZs, like Barbarian, he could just drive down, I think, and just like block the cap. That's always an option too. We have 9 seconds left, and sooner or later, one of them has to move. I think they will do exactly what I suggested. Barbarian will make it into the cap. Same for T-Sec, and the trades are continuing. We mentioned it before, the heavy hitting guns a bit more on the side of W, and they hit T-Sec pretty hard. But if the double E50M kind of has a chance to get into the game, this could look pretty good. You can see IOS is pushed down from the ramp because the E50 found an angle.
Yeah, IOS being forced down means Panzer Fury could potentially go take the top, and you can see him starting to edge his way forward, looking for those angles. He finds a shot on Itox, who's crossing over. He's minus 1.3. DJ starting to repush into 1-2 and that E50M, but he cannot do it alone right now. Monster could join, but most importantly, Franek will join, and that's a big strike. Does it hit on all 3? I think it just about did. In return, Klurf and Itox taking a strike to the face as well. Now Franek will arrive on towards 1-2 line, and that leaves Klurf and Itox with a situation undesirable for those 2 tanks.
No, I mean, DJ has great timing here. He has a situation where he can basically drive up without any issues and then potentially pressure the cap. Another good strike being deployed here. We'll have to see if W can make this push happen, because the CS of Monster will obviously have great shots all along.
Good round there from the ball to kick it off with. He and Piotr make sure that Panzer Fury is dead. Itox in return dead as well because of the repush from the lower side. Katsai from behind even coming in, and now Klurf left in this CS63 in a bad position as well. Wasn't able to cross back in towards the middle. He will fall. Looking dead first though. They do pick up T-Sec, but this is E50M territory. DJ and Katsai trying to run down the rest of the W side. In the meantime, Katsai is actually running down IOS. He cannot escape, might even get rammed a little bit. Katsai picks him up on that regard, and that is the E50M power. And we can see that even with that quick and initial advantage, with the HP lead on against the BZs, that E50M repush just a little bit too much to deal with for the side of W.
Yeah, I mean, the HPs for a long time looked pretty alright, but then Hit and Run got the advantage and they didn't give it up. I'm pretty sure Monster will have really significant damage there, because he was more or less able to farm this whole push all along, even picking up the last kill on his former teammate of Hit and Run. Piotr there being eliminated. But that means Hit and Run puts themselves on a match point, 2-1 now in their favor, and obviously also taking the first round of Cliff.
Just a solid repush, right, for Hit and Run.
Yeah.
They bring the 140 down, then an E50M repushing. BZCS would already lose this engagement either way. Monster can cross over, so you always have a 3v2 if needed. But Itox doesn't make it out of there. He dies on that corner. And then Klurf is not able to escape either whatsoever. So you're up 2 guns before anything really even happens. The 140 is isolated off as well, not being able to contribute that much. But you can see the bigger problem there. Itox 1.3k damage. Klurf not getting that much out either if you compare it against the lowest performing player from Hit and Run with Tisek with 3.2. Basically every single one of them doing their HP in damage or more.
Yeah, I mean, how much HP does the BZ have? It has like around 3k, right?
A bit above 3k.
But yeah, Piotr fired 999, a very good result. I mean, he did significant amount of damage, but in the end it doesn't really matter too much. You mentioned it, like the bottom of the pack and the middle of the pack is basically where the biggest differences are. Those are kind of the rounds where we'll not say like this player was the MVP of the round, but it was just like everyone doing well. And looking at the penetration rates as well, pretty good stuff on the side of Hit and Run, especially the BZs with their lower number of shots in the end, like both of them at the bottom doing 5-5 and Pun's Fury doing 6 out of 6. So pretty good result. And that puts Hit and Run on a 2-1 advantage, obviously leading towards a potential 3-1 victory if our prediction would become true.
I mean, looking good right now, Phil. Looking good. This was a controlled round for Hit and Run. For W, you know, crossing that BZ over seemed like an intuitive move, but it was actually the mistake that they made. Better for them to push the middle at that point, I think, almost, than to try and reinforce 1-2 line. So good stuff there from Hit and Run. Playing a bit more passive, but finding the result needed.
I also liked that the E50M basically decided to go a bit further and shoot the 140 on the ramp, right? Like often we have like a tank that basically just stays at the bottom or is looking for like a one-on-one, and in the E50M it's not like you can just like immediately drive up. You're a fairly heavy tank, like when it just comes to the weight of the tank, so driving up the ramp and so on definitely costs you some time. And he did, I think, 2 shots into the 140, which had to leave the ramp, and obviously will then also be one of the tanks that can't put in extra DPM. So yeah, I mean, forcing W onto making a decision, and as you mentioned, the decision did not work out for them, and Hit and Run taking the round in a pretty convincing manner.
Can they convert it on the second cliff? It's a good question. Will they be able to do it? That's another one. The Hit and Run, double BZ, Mivi, Mouse, CS, E50M and 140. Again, shaping up for the slower game style.
Okay, the Mouse was changed out, so we have triple BZ now. I like the Yo tank, like having one of them is usually a good choice if the game lasts for a bit on Cliff, because you can just trade really well with the turret, with a great gun depression. Overall, well-rounded setup. I have to say, interesting that W picked a light tank here. Usually with this like brawling situation, you are lacking a bit of firepower. Let's take a look at how many spots he gets at the beginning.
Plane coming out, he spots 6. So all they're missing is the info on the E50M on the lower side. Again, a similar split for Hit and Run, right? 6 down, 1 up. But
yeah,
also probably crossing to F2.
That looks to be the case, yeah. Immediately driving into the same position we saw the CS of W drive as well. Big shot coming in there from, I think, Itox. Good connection, but also Mentos losing roughly 300 HP on the way up. Monster actually decided to take the strike immediately. Bit of a different decision compared to what other players do, but as there's no pressure from W towards Lonart whatsoever, that's probably the better decision anyway.
Ooh, Ketsai there, taking 2 from Itox and Piotr, but now DJ and Monster They look to start hunting from behind. The 50M popping its ability, start making some shots. Barbarian now closing the middle as well. The engagement about to erupt here. The 140 coming as well. They know that there's a light tank. They put the strike as well. That one hits on 3 targets. So a beautiful strike placed. And Monster and DJ from that corner trying to do some damage, but they gotta be careful. The crossfire is there, established with the 140 and the RHM. Even now the top ramp being bullied back towards Hit and Run, who are slightly down in HP, but are starting to wrestle control over those positions. Nepal is gonna have to back off from that one, and that Mivi now on the place where it needs to be, all the way on the top. Franek needs to be careful though in the 140 to not overextend, and now the light tank moving in from behind. Klurf, has he gone a little too early? Will be kind of stuck behind that building, but he does find Franek. Panther Fury getting repushed by Lukin as well, and now W looking for potentially a knockout punch. They want to get back the middle of the map. They know there's 2 tanks in 1-2. IOS arriving as well. Franek is dead. Barbarian on the top of the hill. He needs Ketsai in support, but Ketsai is too far away from the middle. That leaves Disek all alone and exposed. He will fall, and some strikes coming in which do good damage, but so far W seems to be ever so slightly ahead. But the top of the hill firmly under control for Hit and Run. It could be the difference maker, and because of that, W now pushing back towards 1-2 line, but the 1-2 combination sucker punch towards Piotr, down and out. But DJ, I don't think, has the possibility here to do more than one more shot. He doesn't even find it. Nepal not bouncing those, leaving the CS63 of Monster to be the next one that is going to die as well. Puts a strike out, will not hit either. Itox to pick it up, and now Barbarian and Ketsai might be king of the hill, but they will not be able to win this round.
Yeah, I mean, the damage that came in onto this cross was quite significant, but you mentioned it, like those last shots, if maybe there would have been one extra penetration onto Nepal in the BZ, and then maybe Monster can pick up the strike or something like that, it could have been a bit closer, but Barbarian holding all the HPs while not really having any DPM in the end, maybe that was the difference maker. That should put the score to a 2-2, which makes the whole situation again very interesting going into a tiebreaker.
Anybody's game at this point. Anybody's game. Although I think Hit and Run started off really well with that pressure on the middle, but then few mistakes. There's sometimes taking too much damage. I'm looking at the 140 of Franek this time. Was very low and enabled Klurf to come in from behind, pick him up as well.
I think he peaked a bit too early.
Yeah.
He was standing next to Ketsai, if I remember it correctly. But yeah, in the end, it's also something where we have to see if they if they hold the position or if they have to like repush or something like that. In the end, W managed to take the round. It was interesting to see that the trades coming in, you mentioned it, like the crossfire onto the 2 medium tanks. I think it was E50M of DJ and Monster. They did quite some damage, but the damage was always flying back. So W kind of defended themselves pretty well there.
Yeah, made a great comeback even, because they were really down and out for a while there. Positions were being bullied back. The top was taken by the Mivi as well. The Mivi making a mistake earlier on as well, if you remember, peeking a bit too early and taking some damage, you know?
No, he took like 2 shots from the side, like the BZs each gave him 1. 3.4 is still a decent result for Ketsai, but yeah, I mean, this 2k of Franek, if that is like a bit more, then this game could have definitely swung the other way. He fired 6 times and did basically exactly 666, but it was just not enough.
So, Klurf coming out, very good result from him, 4.7k damage. Of course, some of that is strike damage. Which
I mean, only 900, right?
Yeah,
like,
which is still, like, he's still putting in 3k at least, 3.8k with just his gun. So, really good stuff there from Klurf.
No. With that being said, we can take a quick look at the fastest game. And I mean, we had 2 cliff games. This one was actually the faster one, 3 minutes and 24 seconds, meaning W will pick... how quick were the Ghost Town runs? One of them was also pretty quick, right?
The first one was relatively quick, no? The second one, not really, but the first one was relatively quick. I don't think it was as quick as the second.
The first one was 3 minutes and 6, so that one was the first.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was faster than the second cliff. It's either first Ghost Town or second cliff that
yeah, so W was allowed to pick. W is playing north, Hit is playing south.
I think we're shaping up for a bit of a slower battle. What way would a quick and decisive push look like on Ruinberg, Phil?
I mean, I feel like you can't push through the cap area. First of all, you get spotted, and then there are like a bunch of hull-on positions. I think a similar situation is basically the cap area, because you have to cross open field and so on. Like, sorry, the church area where the arty strike is. So, I mean, we saw this approach in the second round, kind of like pushing open field, but I don't know. I think it's more of a slow and steady map. We saw on other maps that are also like a bit more slower, like Pilsen, for instance, that there are options to go towards the cap and then over push from the cap. I'm not sure if this is like an immediate possibility for Ruinberg. How do you feel about maybe like approaching the cap with a couple of tanks and then having a couple of tanks in the green area? And if you see that there are like 3 tanks isolated, kind of like pushing from the cap, rejoining forces and overrunning the green?
It's really hard because the middle is cut open.
No.
I get what you mean, but you would be running into the tanks that are taking the cutout area in the middle where normally you cannot go. They would be tapping you on the crossing. I think it's a long distance to cross for what you want to do, like a combined push on the green. It's very, very long down the middle, especially with the tanks you would be playing with, like E4s, mouses.
But what if you basically send all your tanks towards the green side, but then you basically take the this like side road into the into the buildings, and then you have the decision if you go for the cap or if you do a full push.
If you want to do what you are suggesting, right? I think you're taking like 1 or 2 mediums, right? Probably Bliskavisses for the field, yeah, and then like something like Forsbees to cut in either from the city or from the field side into the cutout area that then push across and sandwich that area. But it's a really hard push to make, to be honest.
I mean, it's not like I'm saying this is the thing that I want to do. You ask me what could be a push.
Yeah,
right?
I'm just refining the idea. It can work, to be honest. If you get some tanks stuck on the 6th line, it can work. But it's a really, really hard push to do. WBZ T57 Type 140 double Force B and an E4.
Yeah, I mean, hit and run playing the double T57 double Type CS 140 and Force B. I have to say the T57 is one of those tanks that has like a lot of potential to deal plenty of damage, but it also struggles against hull down tanks, right? Because sure, in this match you could argue W doesn't really have that strong of a hull down tank, but even if it's a BZ and you end up having to trade 1-for-1 on a distance of like 150 or 200 meters, the T57 is not really able to use the clip, so we'll have to see if they can get close enough. But the damage reduction of the E4 is definitely also a good counter to it.
I mean, the damage reduction of E4 is an amazing ability, but no quick pushes in the beginning, just a bit slower here. The double T57 waiting and lingering in a trap for a potential pressure on the 6-7 line. They will not find too much, though. There needs to be a reason for those W tanks to peak as well.
Do you think for now it's enough to just have Katsai taking the strike from time to time?
Why not? You can generate a little bit of...
I mean, he took 1 shot of damage. I'm not sure, maybe by the Porsche? Or maybe like a blind shot or something. But yeah, I mean, hit and run, we mentioned at double Type 5. They start with a bit of extra HP. And I guess they will be able to deploy a strike here or there, but you don't really want to deploy a strike just for the sake of having it done, right? You don't care too much about 450 extra damage. Katsai could get a shot into Itox. Obviously he needs to make sure that's well aimed, because the type has a bunch of weak spots, but there are also some spots where you can hit the gun or something like that. Decides to not shoot, but stays unspotted, just as I was saying that he fires and gets spotted. The Force B rotated in the meantime. He's on A0 now, or A9, but approaching A0.
So Hidden playing numerous traps here, right? They've got a type 5 capping, but then they have a trap on the 7 line. They also have the trap on the 0 line with the Force B of Monster, waiting behind the 140 of Fanek. Fanek, of course, doesn't want to go too far once you approach the higher area. You can't really see the red line here, but it's basically where that little building is. So if he goes high, he can start getting shot by Lukin and the 57. But now Mentos gathering up with the Force Bs. Fanek already taking a shot of damage. Pilter boosting across, and Fanek might just be a little bit too far in the open. Now Klurf starting to unleash the damage in that Force B, and Fanek, damn sure, out in the open in that 140, trying to run away, but he will not make it. He's the first one down, and now the T-57s of the hit and run trying to make that trap work, but instead DJ takes a fistful of damage straight to the face, and now Monster, that lingering player on the 0 line, he was supposed to be an ambush, but he doesn't have the support, he doesn't have the teammates. He will push forward on towards Klurf, do his 2 shots, make Klurf a 1-shot. He fluffs the second one as well, and Piotr with the ram, the shot, and now IELTS in support. It's going to be W being up 2 guns and more importantly 4,000 HP. A good clip from the 57 on towards the back of Piotr, but with this advantage that W has generated right now, they find T-Sec, that's the second player down, and these 57s are doing a great job for hit and run. DJ finding a full clip against Lukin, but with those 2 tanks being down already, it's a tough one.
No, and the HPs are still pretty much the same as they were before. 4k up for W. Now with them closing in, the HP gap is widening. Punch Fury might actually roll Itox there with a bit of luck, but even that will not change the situation.
So this W team, with some lineup changes so far, not taking down 1 giant, taking down 2 as well, starting off their season with a bang. It's not full points, Phil, because of the double tiebreaker, but they have beaten Cashback, they have beaten Hit and Run, and if you ask them, I think they would sign up for this 10 out of 10 times, because that is a good start to the season.
Yeah, for sure, and that's kind of what we were hoping for if you're a W fan, that we are not ending up in a scenario where they are like not so sure about each other, and then like W is still a team that sometimes has a bit of like a mood situation, so if you end up with them not having the greatest mood, and then you have a new team that could definitely go against what you have planned. Overall, pretty good result for them.
Pretty good result. Jos just thanked me for something like really quickly. I was like confused. Apparently I taught him that he outspots a 140 on Ruinberg in solo duo. So I feel like I'm contributing to the success of W here.
You're the one that ruined our prediction.
Apparently so. No, actually no, because Ruinberg was the last map.
No. Either way, we can take a quick look at the post-game stats. And yeah, we mentioned it. The T-57s of Hit and Run did some decent damage. Barbarian did 10-10-10, roughly 4k damage, so rolling average. But yeah, at the very bottom, Franek, he was caught off in his 140, out with 1 shot of damage. And yeah, I mean, Itox surviving there. He did 7-7-7, 5k damage as well. Nepal, pretty good job as well there with his T-57. And then obviously all of the other tanks doing 2.5 to 3.5k damage. IOS as well in the 140, using his Inspire 5 times, so basically the whole duration. Picking up 2 kills, 12-12 shooting as well. So pretty good job by the guys from W, and well-deserved victory in this round of Ruinberg.
Yeah, and picking up 2 more points as well. Of course, again, not clean points, but starting off the season by beating Hit and Run and Cashback is brilliant for them, because these hard matchups, every match is technically hard, but they'll get more realistic chances of full points against future opponents, right? They still need to play CTR, Volgas, Lotus, teams with less experience, where if they do what they're supposed to do, they're going to be picking up the full points, right?
No, and considering that Weekend also is not looking too good, maybe that's also a team where W can pick up some points there. With that being said, obviously the second half of the stream is still to come. The teams that Ducky just mentioned are waiting for their time to shine. After a quick replay, we will go back to some more action. So you can take a look at the highlights, and then match number 3 will start.
50M with the readjustment here. Is Illusia going to get another shot in towards the lower plate? Yes, that means one shot on towards the 50M. Is Max going to pick it up? Good shot in towards the cupola. It is the 1v1 we've been waiting for here, and he does it.
The OLS Season 5 is already here. The best teams are ready to head onto the battlefield. Who will you be supporting? Root for your favorites, follow their journey, and stand by them. With you on their side, they'll be unstoppable. You take hits together with them, and that means you go all the way. Behind every vehicle is a personality whose quick thinking and precise actions can change the outcome of battle. Victory is 100 shots and maneuvers, plus 1,000 emotions on the other side of the screen. Support your favorite OLS team. Be by their side. Together, until victory.
Welcome back to the Surfshark Onslaught Legends Series Season 5. 2 matches down, 2 matches to go, Mov. We've had some bangers. Now we're looking if Lotus can put up a fight against Mafia.
Yeah, that remains to be seen. Lotus, day 1, didn't go so great against Hit and Run, but in their defense, you know, playing against Hit and Run and then Mafia straight off in the beginning of the season, it's a tough entry into the league.
It is, and this one will be equally tough for them, to be honest, if not tougher. Mafia, a team that leaves nothing to be left desired. They are the top dogs right now, absolutely. Bringing home the recent victories. They're looking for more preparation for who knows, whatever else is still to come throughout the year. And this Lotus team, well, they want some points, and taking points from Mafia would be a very big achievement.
Yeah, do you know what that slogan means on the front of the shirt? Is it some sort of team slogan or something, or some sponsor? I don't know.
I have no clue.
I guess it's Polish, so we'll have to refer to some Polish people in the Twitch chat or in the Wargaming office to tell us that. Twist on the screen, 3.2k average. I'm not sure what these stats are pulled from. Probably Winter Invitational and OCS, maybe? I don't know. Or is it just from the beginning of the season?
Winter Invitational, Muff.
Oh, there you go. It's pretty good, 3.2k. I mean, you'd expect to do over 3k if you're picking a 140.
That's kind of expected. The 140 is the flavor of the season, I guess. Muff. It was already flavor of the season last season.
Oh my god, 1%.
1 vote.
What? Have we ever had 100%?
No. Not that I remember.
Damn. I mean, normally, because this is pulled from not Twitch chat, this is pulled from the What Competitive Discord poll. Normally we have like a few troll votes or people from their own team believing in themselves, but 1%. Yeah. I put a 3-0, so I mean, based on that.
You want me to go check who was the one predictor for them?
Yeah. Was it someone from their team?
Let me see. Lotus, 1 vote. It was Matti.
And wait, where was Matti?
Matti TLP.
He was another Polish player who played with some of these guys in Ping before, right? So he's backing his boys pretty hard with the Copium.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least one believer, right?
Yeah. I mean, you know, you can rally some more fans to your cause by winning matches, and taking down Mafia would certainly be a pretty big scalp. Pilsen being picked as the first map is not really a surprise. Mafia, it's their home turf. They will pretty much always pick it when they get the opportunity to. And not just that, but if they can heavily recycle on Pilsen, it means they don't have to reveal strats for other maps down the road.
Pilsen. Mafia always gravitating towards Pilsen. Every single time. They're a very good team on it. They have good results on it as well. So no surprises that they keep heading that way, right?
No, and Lotus, I don't think it's a surprise that they pick into Sand River either. It's a map that they've picked on a number of occasions. Winter Invitational in the past as well. And they're a team that has a tendency towards the W sort of play style. You're the 1%, Daki. You and Matty going 3-1 for Mafia. It's entirely possible. It's one round is all it takes.
Hey,
but...
you know, listen, Moff. Let me tell you something. When you already won, right? When you won the last season, you can give the win to somebody else this season. So I'm experimenting a little bit, you know?
Yeah, just like they donated to Volgus as well.
Exactly. So I'm experimenting a little bit. If I don't win, you know, it's okay.
But yeah, it's all on the line. 3-0 predictions across the board. For everyone else, Mafia coming in with double BZ, Type 5, 140, 430U, Foshby, and RHM played by Kono.
Lotus in return, no light, triple BZ and E50M and 140 and double Bliskovica looking for a quick push.
Yeah, I think what I remember from the Volgus match that Mafia played, it felt like they were recycling quite heavily, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get kind of more of the same. Although, I'm surprised the 430U seems to be more popular than it was in the past. Like, just based on the first 2 playdays, it seems to be way more frequently picked.
So, they're trying to dodge with the BZs. Only Tark's getting spotted, but he's pretending to go towards, well, not pretending, he's going towards the mid-track. So, currently Mafia doesn't really know what's happening just yet, right?
No, and that means they're going to continue to go over towards the field. Kono not playing an EBR. That's usually him and his EBR is certainly, they're great pals. They work together fantastically. But this time he's playing the RHM, just surfing the ridgeline, trying to figure out what he can spot. But it's actually Marcel who does the spotting in that Type 5 heavy. He spots out this aggressive push, this move by the BZ-75s of Lotus. And I think they realize right now they've got to go if they want to catch out Marcel. The info is now being provided by Kono. Marcel is on an island, but he is a Type 5.
He is on an island. The question is, can they bridge the gap towards him? It does look like they're going for it. He's already taken some damage to it, staying on the corner. Now the Bliskovica is moving in, shooting on the move, not really getting too much. Jordan coming closer. There's a Foshby and a 140 in support, but Marcel seems to be in trouble. Tuka getting tracked. Twist needs to be careful with his HP. Tuka being perma-tracked even from the outside. The 140 just getting shot after shot. Tuka minus 1.9. He does manage to repair the track. Immediately swings towards that Type 5 and puts him down. HP basically dead even, but a gun up for the side of Lotus, and they smell like Barkus is in trouble in that BZ-75. They're moving towards him. Tuka needs to disengage, so he's backing off back in towards the city. Jordan now coming to Bliskovica as well. They find that BZ-75 of Barkus. Could this be what Lotus needs? The very first round, bringing up their very first win, and everything is looking good right now. The strikes coming in though, only hitting 2 with one of those, the other one only connecting on towards 1. Barkus is dead, and Conrad, the DPM, now the next one on the chopping board. Tarks trying to boost away. Botsians and Botsik will find Conrad, but Tarks will not make it out. 2-gun advantage now for Lotus, but they gotta be careful. They need to get out of the crossfire. Botsik, they're blocking Botsians a little bit. They do get out. Tuka falls against Kona in the meantime. He sneaked in behind enemy lines, infiltrated, and took down the Bliskovica, but can he make it out? Double cap pressure back on. No strikes available for the side of Mafia either. So this is a real opportunity here for Lotus, because right now nobody has a strike. Profuse is now moving towards that eastern strike, so it's going to be on Kono and Rexar to get the resets out. Jordan getting pushed by the Rexar. In the meantime, Orchek coming back in towards the middle of the back map right now as well, and Rexar finds Jordan, puts him out of the game. The healing part has begun. Can they find that Foch B? He did find the kill. Kono from behind being a nuisance. Orchek finding Twist, and Mafia starting to wrestle back a little bit of control of this match. Can Orchek find the kill? He can. Now Orchek in that 4 to the U getting pressured though, but but Profuse already from behind on towards Botsians. Can Botsian survive against Orchak? No, he cannot. He even rams himself to death. Botsik will find the kill, but Profuse is doing so much damage from behind, and Lotus in the dying moments of these rounds seem to be falling apart. Now Sokol and Botsik moving towards Profuse, but Kono from behind doing good work against the back lines, against that 140 who's getting healed back up by the BZ-75. Profuse now disengaging, Kono coming back in, sharing the HP, and I think Mafia may have just done enough to bring it back. The strike being taken though by Botsik. He ends up missing the shot. Now they turn towards Profuse, but they're not focusing the fire pretty much that well at all. Profuse 335 with speed. Does Botsik get it in one? He does, but Kono left with 1.1 will seal the deal. Normally speaking, he's backing off, but he knows that the game is all in his hands.
Yeah, it's over. And that is just a fact. That's just a fact of life. That the RHM in the end game, plus Kono in the end game, and he will finish it off just playing the distance, that camo that the RHM has. And in the end, they just ran out of steam, the side of Lotus. You have to credit Mafia quite heavily, I would say, for the way that they reacted to playing essentially 6 versus 7. Yeah, you're right. They recovered very well, considering how bad things were. And I think it just points to the experience of this team that everyone knew the drill, right? Everyone knew what to do. They didn't panic. They set themselves up in good positions, and they made it as difficult as possible for Lotus to just continue to steamroll the situation. But to be honest, like between both of these teams, I think it was a very well played match. I don't think Lotus did anything terribly wrong.
No, Tuka getting perma-tracked, kind of unfortunate. Maybe bad ability usage. Can we say that for the Blitzka? He lost a lot of HP there in the beginning. Maybe it would have been better to first cross some distance without ability and then only activate it for the second bite.
Yeah, it's always a tough choice with the timing of ability activation, right? Because, you know, you don't want to take the damage, but at the same time, get perma-tracked in the open with the 1 HP of track health. That is the trade-off, and I think that's what I like about that the Juggernaut ability, is that there is a trade-off to like when you have to activate it. It's not just objectively good all the time, but Lotus, they came pretty close, almost ruining 4 out of 5 of our predictions straight off the bat, but Mafia, they managed to steal it. Well, I wouldn't say they stole it away, really. They just, like, it was just a close match.
It was. That was my one round there, Moff. I got a feeling.
Yeah, I was going to say it, but I didn't want to, you know, I mean, we talked about it plenty of times, the history of me and predictions, you know. You never really celebrate too early, you know, so.
Well, they have 2 more opportunities, at least, to do so, but I really believe that that was the round where they could have brought the difference home. They did a really good move, though, in the beginning. Found the type, found the PZ, and then maybe stretched a little bit too thin. The guys on the cap were not really covering the isolated player within the factory that well, which means that Rexar was just able to completely clip him out, if you remember. If they were a bit closer, a bit more ready, who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to criticize in these situations when it's such fine margins between success and failure. I think we can just credit Kono, really, for putting himself in these situations with the light where it's, you know, a worse player would struggle to make the correct call to find impact in that situation, right? And maybe he would be a bit too scared to go in at the end there, because honestly he could have just baited Profuse completely and potentially played out the 1v2, but it's a very fine line between being a hero and just suiciding in an RHM.
Yeah, it is indeed. But he has a lot of experience on the RHM, and he's played a lot of Onslaught this season.
Yeah, I've matched up against him more than a couple of times. Although not that much, because I didn't, for once, I didn't actually start playing Onslaught from the very beginning. I left it like 4 or 5 days before I started, so I haven't had too many head-scratching moments up against him.
Well, nonetheless, Mafia find themselves up 1-0, and that's also the sign of a great team, right? They are down a lot, but they're able to bring it back. That left you wondering, like, so many people in a good position at the right time, finding the right angles.
Yeah, I think that's the epitome, right? It's that you're in a situation that's not favorable and you turn it around. That's the sign of a great team, right? And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because I'm talking about a different team, but what I observed from day one, I thought CTR, they looked like a team that when things were going well, it's great, but anytime they faced a bit of resistance in the match, it felt like they were struggling to kind of turn the tide. And I think that's the difference between the three teams like Lotus, Vulgus, and CTR, and the other five. Although maybe not Weekend now, I don't know.
Lineups number 2, Lotus versus Mafia, double type 5 for Lotus, an E50M, and 140 double for 3U, and a Foch B.
Mafia going with type 5, K91, double 430U, Foch B, E4, and again Kono in the RHM. So more aggression to be expected from Lotus. It's going to be tough for them. They're potentially going to be a bit hamstrung by these type 5 heavies if they don't manage to find the early impact in the round. The plane comes out, spots 4, so Kono will have a replane, and he will start to once again clear the coal piles at the start of the round. Split for Mafia, Marcel playing anchor. One of the K91s, or the K91 rather, can rotate back to cover from K1, also with mini strike to reset the cap, but Lotus have no interest in that so far.
We're taking a strike on the eastern side, and Lotus this time around playing a lot more passive. But how do you overcome this IHM off on a slow game?
It's a tough one, right? Because you feel like the more time that passes, the more Kono plays into the game, right? And that could be true of all different game modes, in randoms, onslaught. The longer the game goes on for, if the light tank is alive, they just become more and more threatening by the minute. But Kono is rotating away for the time being. Mafia set up defensively in the coal piles with the double 430U. Comrade may be about to go for the radar tower, just sitting right on the very edge right now, and he has made that decision. Mafia seem to be confident that plane gets used at the same time as the radar tower. Lotus getting baited into peeking. That's great timing there from the plane to spot them out, knowing that they're going to try and blind reset. And I think Mafia, now they have all the info, and it's going to be tough for Lotus to try and figure out a way to surprise their opponent. I mentioned the double type 5 at the start of the round, how they can really hamstring you because it takes them a long time to rotate, and they're quite big and clumbering and big clumsy heavy tanks. It's difficult for them to find impact, and now that Mafia knows everything, I feel like they are just slowly going to get constricted. Mafia's just slowly going to take more and more map control. Comrade's already going to start collecting another strike. This is going to be a problem.
Yeah, Mafia just stocking up a little bit on that arsenal, right? They will collect strikes, they will continue collecting strikes for a while, and I think Lotus cannot let this happen. If there is 3 strikes on Mafia, that's a lot of potential damage.
Yep, Comrade will collect that, and then he's going to leave. And then the next 430U is going to step up to the plate to collect his free strike coupon in the middle of the coal piles. And there's really nothing else happening. Mafia, we know they're a team that's quite restrained. They're quite happy to sit back in matches like these. They don't feel the itch to try and do something, try and force a play. They know that they're in a decent position. They have all the map control they want. So the onus is really on Lotus.
Jordan is coming close, but the info will be taken, so Mafia has a very good read on what's happening. They will see that there's 5 tanks there.
Yeah, they will. And that's not really what you want. You're grouping up all your tanks to try and do some sort of surprise rotation push. It's just not going to happen. The radar tower doesn't even get used. They might pop it now that Bosick has decided to move forwards. Yep, they do. So, yeah, that entire zero line push is spotted. So there's no surprises if you are Mafia. The only question is, do they react appropriately to this, or can Lotus still manage to kind of brute force their way through?
Moving down the zero line is Lotus now, with a large portion of their tanks, 30 of them, on the field as well, but this is very telegraphed so far, Moff. Taking anyone moving over as well, and Mafia does have the double strike as a weapon in the back pocket as well, ready to be unleashed at any given moment. The plane will hit on 3 as well. Beautiful stuff there from Kono. Jordan now making his way down 0 line. Will start getting shot by Rexar, by Kono as well, peeking up and over against Barkis, peeking out, minus 1.8, minus 2k. He does have the healing coming up soon, but will he be alive for long enough? No, he won't. Barkis finds the kill. Now Loden's retaliating with a strike of their own against Conrad and Barkis, but that Fosh B being down starts pretty bad for them on this initial engagement, and those 33Us are going to try to do what they can in the meantime. Botsek peeking from the top as well, and Tuka and Tarks don't have the worst position here. Botsek coming in even with the Ram, pushing out that one singular 43U from its good position. Not a bad one whatsoever. And Lotus does find the double kill, but the damage dealt, the damage received is pretty big. And here comes Rexar in with his 6 shells. Tuka and Tarks, they might be safe from one angle, but they are not safe from the other. As Rexar comes back in together with Profuse, they clean up the double 43U. And when the dust settles, it's Mafia all around.
Yeah, and Marcel is also winning that individual fight in the middle of the map, so nowhere across the board is it going well for Lotus right now. And you kind of feel for them, because from the opening of the game, you just put, you know, the way that the two lineups of the teams work, if they don't get something going early on, it's just it's really difficult to try and force the situation back into your favor, especially since Mafia is such a good team that you are up against. And I have to say, this battle almost felt like a turn-based game. It was like Jordan drives in, dies, then we have a little bit of like rallying from Lotus as they start to kill the 430 user middle, and then it's Mafia's turn. Rexar comes back in and just destroys everyone.
Yeah, it looks close for a little bit of time there, but then, you know, the Forge B comes off of reload and with 6 shells in the chamber says, well, hello to my little friend, the Forge B. Cleans up the rest of the Lotus side. Result, match point for Mafia and looking to close it. That was methodical. That was a chess match for Mafia. Always one step ahead, taking the info tower, always aware. If Lotus would have won that, Mafia would have had to look back at that and be like, how did we lose that? We had all the info that was needed.
Yeah, it definitely would have been a pretty massive throw from their side. Sokol doing 5.2 in the Type 5 Heavy. I mean, that's pretty good shooting, but ultimately it's the classic heavy tank situation where everyone just ignores you, so you're able to free farm for a little bit. But unfortunately, you can see the problem factor is a Fosh B that did not do a Fosh B size clip, just the one shot from Jordan, which was actually a strike as well, because it's like 450 exactly.
Well, yeah, Jordan tried to do the swing, but didn't make it across. And for Mafia, it was a really good round. Well played to them. Good setup, showing that Pilsen is their home turf and they know exactly what they need to do. Now moving on to Sand River.
Yeah, and you know, much like with the first match of the day, Weekend, they were struggling. They, you know, and then they moved on to their own map pick. Lotus, they kind of needed the same sort of resurgence to fall back on towards Sand River and hope that it's going to be enough for them to get back into this match and at the very least secure tiebreaker. Try and get that at least 1 point on the board. I think even losing in tiebreaker to Mafia would be a good step for them, both literally in terms of points and in terms of rallying to show that they can take the fight.
Now they have one more opportunity to make something happen here. If it doesn't work out, it'd be 3-0. And for Lotus, you know, you want them to do something.
It's like the meme where they poke, you poke the little thing with the stick and you say, come on, do something. For Mafia's case, let's hope that you're not poking the honey badger with a stick. But I don't, you know, that I think it's a polar bear that's Lotus's logo. I don't think that the polar bear is really going to pose a threat here. Mafia seem to be well-traveled Eskimos.
I mean, Mafia is on cloud 9, you know, like they're very happy. They've won everything there is to win in recent memory. They, of course, want to continue this streak, right? Can't blame them for that.
Well, you say it's a streak, but they did just lose Winter Invitational.
meh, neglectable.
Yeah, and I felt kind of bad, like, before Mafia had won one of, like, the big tournaments, like OLS or WCI, I felt kind of bad for saying the Winter Invitational doesn't really count as, like, a big tournament win, because it was their only win at the time, but, you know, it pales in comparison to an OLS, right?
Indeed, it does. Now, Sun River, who's starting west, do you know?
I do not. I can potentially find out very quickly if I am a speedy boy. I think that Lotus start from the eastern spawn. It says south, which I'm presuming is east.
Yes, that's correct. Mafia coming in, double BZ, an IS-7 triple 50M, and an UDAS, a lineup that looks to fight.
Yeah, UDA is not very common. Lotus bringing BZ, M5Y, E50M, double K91, 140, and an RHM. Double K91 is kind of like Mafia copy pasta, especially because it's from this spawn as well, so it's kind of a Mafia strat.
I mean, they could go straight K-line with this and go for the fight. You can still split up with it, but Lotus's lineup is not one that will be too heavy on the K-line, which could both be good and bad, of course.
Plane gets used at the start, spots out 3. Barkers will take just the 1 shot of damage from spawn at the start of the round, but Lotus very clearly playing for a slow, controlled game. Mafia trying to force the initiative at least a little bit by playing towards the cap in the beginning. Marcel's going to be there in the IS-7, denying the strike in the north of the map from being taken. So complications for Lotus is trying to figure out how they can get the mini strikes up on their K91s in order to be able to reset this cap. There's also going to be at least another minute. Well, there's only 30 seconds left on the cap, but there's going to be some time dedicated to just destroying buildings on the cap here. Jordan committing forwards. If he can just connect one more shot, he will have a mini strike for the cap.
Yeah, but he pushed through. Mafia taking the cap, Rexar taking the strike as well in the south, so they can at least deny any pressure. But now Conrad, it's been a little bit of trouble. Botsek has an alternative angle on towards him together with the K-line as well. Conrad readjusting. Botsjan's now coming closer with his BZ. Conrad lets a shot go, doesn't connect, but you can see that his BZ kind of takes some damage. He's even boosting out because he is getting obliterated from the angles, and now Tark's pushing across the middle, finding Marcel from another angle as well, and Marcel and that IS-7 forced into another pocket. And so far the start here looking rather good for Lotus, gotta say.
Yeah, Marcel is starting to be a bit compromised as well, but ooh, bounce shot there from Marcel on towards Tarks. Tarks is now running away. Profuse also trading. A lot of damage being taken on multiple guns here. Surprisingly, Tarks is actually going to get out without taking too much damage. Marcel still in trouble, just no one's able to protect him right now because the E50M moved up from A3 and there's no one sniping at spawn.
Does Tarks have a mini strike? No, he does not. Neither does Jordan. So Marcel might actually sneak away with the strike. No, Tarks gets the HE reset. Good stuff there from Tarks. And now Marcel is kind of the linchpin here.
Yeah, if Marcel goes down, then that's a big anchor piece that's been lost for Mafia, and potentially we're looking at a good opportunity for Lotus to pick up their first round win here. Tarks being cheeky with it. The K91, we know it has great camo, being inspired as well, actually being able to peek and kill Marcel unspotted. So first blood goes to Lotus.
First kill for Lotus, and looking like for them it's a great scenario here. Taking the middle strike as well, still holding the K-line. Cap is no longer a worry, and Mafia doesn't have the greatest long game tanks either.
No, they don't have a light, and you know, much as we glazed Kono earlier on, Bossick dodging strike. Nicely done there. I'm not sure he has time to be able to collect this in order to reset the cap though. 15 seconds left. There is one mini strike from Tarks. Bokyans is driving forwards to block the cap, but he's taking a lot of damage for that. The strike does come in, but Bokyans was blocking anyway. But he's going to trade his life for this pretty much. Barkes is able to peek on towards him almost entirely for free. He's just taking his time trying to figure it out. Strike goes in. Is that going to grab the kill? Yes, it will. So that advantage that Lotus had kind of forced to suicide Bokians. I'm not sure that I was entirely necessary, because they did have a mini-strike.
No, I don't think that was necessary either. Gives Mafia actually a way back into this game, to be honest. Perfus not getting spotted out, but that's an UDES 15-16. I don't think they can even really see him from the K-line. That is a DZ down and out for Lotus for really not that much reasons. Jordan's putting out Perfus again. They're looking, and maybe from the K-line at some point they can find some shot, but now they're pressuring back up with the Mivi and Tuka as well. Twist in cover. It's a 4v3 though on that K-line, Moff.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake to push. You want to play for the long game, play for your light tank, allow Bosic time to play and flank around, but they're pushing forwards, which means they're going to enable Mafia to trigger a repush. They're going to just drive straight back into them. Tuka getting the first one focused out, E50M, the DPM machine. Twist is sniping in the back lines in the 140, which is a great position to be in, but they're still going to get 2 free kills here, pretty much. Orzhek is still on full HP, and Sokol, he has nowhere left to run. He's just driving over the dunes. He is completely helpless, and Bosic now is forced to push in, trying to use his HP, but I don't know why Lotus made this play. They needed to slow down the game. They will find Perfus in the middle, so potentially something is still salvageable.
I mean, when we look at it now, though, you know, the K-line has been lost for Lotus, but it's a 4v3 Moff. If Twist can back off to behind that rock there, maybe on H0, or behind the dune on H0, and can establish a crossfire between him and some teammates, this might be what Lotus is looking for. Twist is even going to keep running. I think he realizes he can, so he will stop behind that rock, and Orchek is on the hunt for him. Twist will, however, be able to
hiding.
Yeah, he will be able to sit behind that rock unspotted.
Yeah, I don't think Orzhek is necessarily aware of how close Twist is here. And Twist, I think, buddy, you do not want to fire, because as soon as you do, Orzhek is just going to hunt you down, and he will get spotted out now. Orzhek putting in a good snapshot as Twist tries to bait. Strike goes in. That's going to make Twist a one-shot. Orzhek is trading a lot of HP for this, though. Down to just 1k himself. A lot of the advantage that Mafia had in HP has been taken away here, so I think that was a good covering fire from Lotus in order to protect Twist. He's still alive on 62 HP.
Orchek looking for it once more though, makes a blind shot, doesn't connect, and of course the K91 now of Tarks has a level 3 strike, that's 250 damage. Botsik taking the middle strike as well, he will sneak that one away from the faces of Mafia. Rexar now moving down in that E50M trying to make a spot, but the RHM slips away, manages to readjust, and now Jordan will be holding one angle, the K91 holding the other, and Twist is still covered. Jordan will back off a little bit, Rexar is looking for it, Botsik readjusting as well towards that C6, C7 position behind that June. They will not just let Rexar come in here and do what he wants, as Jordan and Tarks might fancy themselves a little bit of Rexar. They spot him out, and Tarks peeking over. Twist in the meantime dies to Orchek. Double strikes coming out, triple strikes even, bam, 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 and down goes Rexar. The entire arsenal gets dropped on top of his head. He disappears, and they did get Twist in return, but I'd say Lotus got the better end of the deal there.
Yeah. Taking down 62 HP 140 for almost full HP E50M, you're definitely taking that trade all day long if you are Lotus. And now, they don't have to do anything. They have a 3 versus 2 advantage, there's 2 minutes left on the clock. They can run it down if they want. They can run down the clock and just play for a draw, because it means they will be winning on those all-important tiebreaker rules with more guns being alive here. There's only 1 strike available for Mafia, so Orzhek is kind of forced into doing something a bit desperate, like driving through the middle of the open, trying to just look for scraps, look for any kind of opening or misplay from this Lotus team, but I do not believe that they're going to give it to them.
No, and Kono might go for the strike, but all the angles seem to be covered from Lotus. Botsik is in the base waiting for this, and I think Mafia realized that this is done and dusted, just like your prediction.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. I showed some goodwill by not pointing out when predictions were going badly, but you know, I guess that's just the way it goes. Bosic is just going to continue to kite Orzhek, who has absolutely no chance of catching him. Tarks will miss the shot, but it literally doesn't matter.
Look at the setup here on the K91, by the way. Low noise radio and rammer.
Yeah, it's absolutely nasty. especially when it's combined with a tank that has almost a sub 4-second reload.
Mini strike should be enough to finish it off. Jordan picks up the kill, however, with the shot, and Lotus will pick up their first round against Mafia, continuing their life in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, very good from them. I think a bit of a misstep to repush on the K-line. They gave their opponent an opening. They gave Mafia a lifeline to try and get back into it. So that definitely is something to work on, I look at in the future, but we'll just start with a round. That's a good base to start from.
Top damage for bots like 5k, and then Tarks as well with 5k, not too bad whatsoever, especially the RHM. 900 strike damage was still popping above 4k damage with just shooting.
Yeah, and the RHM has always been revered as a powerful damage-dealing light tank, which is why it's preferred to basically any other light that you can pick in this mode, apart from sometimes the T100 and sometimes the Tasak, but RHM really does just do it all. The gun is, frankly, you know, like for a light tank, it's very, very good.
And yeah, I mean, Mafia was looking for a fight, and this time they did not get it.
No, they didn't. They did not get that fight. I mean, they were the ones that were playing without a light this time, so it's almost like a role reversal from the 2 rounds that we had on Pilsen, where Lotus are the ones with the advantage. Currently 2-1. It's still Mafia on match point. We're going to go into the second round of Sand River and see if Lotus can tie things up, or Mafia will just close it out here and now.
That's a good question, but they're playing from the less favorite side though, Muff.
I don't even know which side you can say is better at this point.
Normally, I mean, West is still a bit more comfortable because of the control.
Yeah, we know the teams have stated multiple times that the Western spawn, they think it's better, but I think it's like honestly like pretty close between both of the spawns. I don't think that, and you know, remember there's also some changes. There's a rock in the middle in the north which kind of protects the team that plays from the eastern spawn if they want to go for the strike and have a little bit more control over that side.
I mean, the West position is also very strong, of course, from the west, so you can play from there. Didn't end up that well for Profus because he made a bad peak that cost him like 1000 HP, but I'd say West is still slightly favored, you know, nonetheless.
Can Lotus pick up a second round and take us to tiebreaker though? That remains to be seen. Our predictions, unfortunately,
Thanks,
4 out of
production.
5 of us.
Thanks, production. I like it.
That definitely was. Did you just slip them a quick message there? That was great timing, really, to just showcase the absolutely horrendous predictions of just imagine putting Lotus to win 0 rounds. I mean, that's just diabolical. It's so rude.
Unbelievable, right? Yeah. Do you believe in, you know, one thing though, what I was thinking about, imagine that Pilsen goes the other way. Like, Lotus is actually not doing that badly in this match at all.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely a perspective that you can say. I mean, yeah, you're right. That one Pilsen game, if they did win it, then they would be the ones that are in the commanding position. But it's, you know, it's always shoulda, woulda, coulda, and no one remembers who came second. It's only the victors. Lotus gonna try and take us the tiebreaker with an IS-7, 4 E50Ms, UDES, and RHM.
Mafia, BZ, Mivi, 50M, double K91, 140, and an RHM. They're taking a bit of more of the slower approach.
Yeah, it's almost, is it mirror from what Lotus did in the last round? But I mean, I said that Lotus were copying, that this is basically Mafia's strat. This is their default pick from this side. So, you know, they feel confident in their defaults, their own strategies. They don't feel like they need to come up with something new for this particular map. I think Plane got used at the start. Only spotted 2 on the side of Lotus, but I think based on plane position, Kono has ascertained the information that it's only 2 guys going K-Line right now.
Only to get, but they're gonna play the slower game, right? It's obvious with the K91s they want to play the way slower game, so they're only gonna commit very little. But Lotus has this more aggressive lineup, but they're also pretty split. They want to take over the north first.
They do, and Comrade is potentially a bit vulnerable here. There's no one currently in balcony and spawn to protect him at the moment, so if they just went for the push right now, and they are getting closer with those E50Ms, they could catch a great timing here, potentially.
I mean, Conrad playing. Do you think Conrad would get spotted if they drove past him?
Well, I'm not sure he would, because K91, we know it has amazingly good camo, and he's probably using low noise exhaust, just like we saw one of the Lotus guys use in the last game. But they now know where he is, so I don't think it matters whether he's unspotted or not. I think that they know his position. He's getting shot, crossfire angle from B8. WE50M is going to come in with the push, and honestly, Mafia are caught napping here. Like, this is really not, they're not prepared for this at all. Comrade has the turret bug. He is actually able to just continue to shoot at them. It just looks like his turret is visually locked to the front of his hull, but still, Lotus, they managed to find the kill, and that's pretty much entirely for free, apart from a couple chip shots.
Yeah, Conrad just kind of dies. They roll over him, and they roll back. Good stuff there from Lotus, and you know, Moff, I'm starting to feel less confident about my prediction.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, there's only wrong. There's not more wrong. So if it goes 2-2, then we're both equally as wrong, unfortunately, for that all-important prediction game that no one cares about apart from us. Tark's now rotating in his IS-7, but he's spotted while trying to do this. He needs to be careful that he doesn't get caught, but he's gone despotted, so he's fine. And yeah, honestly, that was quite an uncharacteristic situation we just saw. Like, Comrade just completely unaware or not wise to the possibility that he could just get pushed, and it literally was. It's probably the most free kill that anyone's ever had, apart from a tank just flipping and crashing.
I think the Mafia has is control over some strikes, at least, Moff. The potential of picking up that K-line strike again, that middle strike again, and that could give them something. The second thing is maybe Lotus decides to go a lot more passive here, right?
Maybe. And that's always a usually considered to be a mistake, right? A team that's considered the underdog, they get an early advantage, and then they just kind of sit back, they rest on their laurels, and they slowly lose the advantage that they managed to build up. So I would like it if they were a bit more proactive here, because like you say, they are just allowing their opponent to build up a strike arsenal essentially for free, although I think Orzhek is going to be struck there, so at least taking a bit of damage for his troubles to try and capture that mid strike. He does need to be careful a little bit from potential angles that people could get if the plane is used on him, but I'm pretty sure that he is very safe. You can see shot does not connect, and he will capture that. So now they've got 3 strikes versus
that's a lot of damage.
1. Yeah, I say newly buffed, it was from last season. 450 damage on that strike. If you can group them up into a cluster, then it really does pay its dividends. Tark's now getting spotted out, just being that anchor piece, but it looks like Lotus are grouping for a push in middle.
The question would be, when is this push going to get spotted? The K91 in the middle of the map hasn't really left. He spots out one of the 50Ms now, spots out all 3 of them, and that is a K91 of Orzhek in the middle. The strikes are starting to get used, all 3 of them on towards the middle of the map. The damage, you can see it stack up, even though we're not really seeing it. And those E50Ms starting to drop low. Sokol already down towards a one-shot. Tuka not doing too much better. Rexar moving back in, and then Orzhek potentially, with the fact that he stayed where he was, could be a great addition for the side of Mafia, who are now up in HP. I think Lotus realized that they cannot wait too long with their move, as another round of strikes would probably be their end. But now Rexar unleashed on towards Botsians, who's continuing forward, but Jordan needs to find Profuse, needs to find Kono, but he's the only one with HP. Tuka doesn't want to go. Botsians definitely doesn't want to go. Profuse and Kono, the two of them, should even be able to deal with Jordan. That is an E50M though, that's a healthy machine driving through. Twist now coming in with the Uras, will get some overwatch position, find some shells as well. There's nobody left on the K-line to really put in the shots, but Tuka down towards 408, that's a 2-shot for the side of Mafia, who are now up in HP, even in guns, but Jordan has turned around, coming back in towards the middle, ramming Profuse as well. That makes him a 1-shot, finds the kill as well. That's what Lotus needs. They isolate one of the Mafia targets, and Tarks in the meantime finds Marcel as well. And now when we're looking at it, the real problem here is that Barkis carries so much of the HP for the side of Mafia. They gotta do something with that Mivi, because the other guns, they're dying. Tarks picks up Marcel. Rexar seems to be in a little bit of trouble as well. Barkis now moving in. He has to go. Kono versus Botsik seems to be quite even and twist, but the Udas 1516 is gonna be quite annoying from above. He hits the shot against Rexar as well. Barkis finds the kill against Tuka. Rexar against Jordan. Can Jordan do one more shot? Yes, he can. Barkis finds the kill. Twist from above, still in a very commanding position, and now the IS-7 closing back in as well, which is Tarks on the Overwatch. Kono has more than one worry in this one, because Botsik could be anywhere at this point. Tarks with a really good shot against Barkis, drops him towards the 1-shot as well, and Lotus wrestle back control.
Yeah, and Barkis, is he going to get the kill? No, Tarks with the on the move, got a bit of airtime there, manages to find the kill, and that really does make things problematic for Rexar. He doesn't know which way to look, and he gets surrounded, and Lotus, they're doing it, Daki. They are pulling it back from the 0 to 2 deficit. Now they are in a 3 versus 1, and you know, I would always not count Kono out in a clutch situation at the end, but Bosick is still alive. Bosick in the light tank. Oh, he puts the strike though, makes Bosick a 1-shot. So if Kono can somehow, if he can somehow find the kill, he shoots Twist as well. This is not over, Daki. There's still potential here. They have a 3v1. They have the advantage. They just need to not throw it.
Thing is, Kono will struggle finding Botsik though. Botsik will probably go hide somewhere. Kono is now trying to go through 0 line. Tarks will potentially move on towards the cap, while the Udas 1516 is also a danger towards Kono. High, camo, medium, that is not a 1-shot.
Yeah, and Tarks is just going to chill. He's like, okay guys, Twist, go kill. That's what he's saying right now as Twist looks to try and cut the map in half, but he is, at the moment, he's looking the wrong way. Kono has kind of slipped the net, if you like, and that could be a problem, because it seems like they've lost their bearings. It seems like they've lost track of where Kono has gotten off to. So there is still potential here. He's running CVS in his RHM as well, which means that he's going to be able to spot Bosick from a slightly greater distance in the middle of the open, and obviously inside of bushes as well. Kono is going on the hunt, just looking to try and find that kill. I would say that Bosick has a pretty good position, but it's also maybe one that Kono could predict if he planes him.
That would be a very brave plane, though he doesn't even have one, so what does Kono do?
He used it already, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have a plane available right now, so that's not a possibility. This is an impossible situation for Kono, no?
Yeah, 1 minute left on the clock. I think he has probably just about run out of time. He's trying to clear all these positions, but he doesn't have the time left in order to do this, and at this point he doesn't have a plane, so Bosick will spot him first, unless he's somehow not in the bush. I mean, some of the bushes on Sand River, it looks like he's not in a bush, but he basically is fully protected. 40 seconds left on the clock. Kono gets lit. Bosick will spot him out and will give him a shot. Kono almost hits on the move, but the strike comes in. You're not going to dodge that, unfortunately for him. And Lotus, they take us to tiebreaker.
Well. And looking at it, Moff, Lotus could have been winning this match 3-1. Which is a crazy aspect. But Mafia, yeah, they're giving Lotus a real opportunity, and they're giving Lotus a point at the very least. Well, not giving, Lotus earning themselves a point.
Yeah, I think they've definitely fought hard for this one point at the moment, but they can get more. They can double that. They can get 2. I mean, it sounds very insignificant, but especially a team that we would expect to be towards the bottom end of the leaderboard, those points, any points you can steal away from a top 3, top 4 team, it's a good day.
Darks 4.8. He made some really good plays in the I7 as well, especially killing the Mivy.
Yeah, that on the move shot. I was surprised he went for that though. Like, I thought Barkers would for sure just get the kill, but I guess he just wasn't ready for it.
No, Conrad there, you talked about it. 982 damage, very, very free.
Yeah, I'm still kind of baffled as to what went on there. Why he was so unaware of the possibility, and not even that he stayed there, just the fact that no one from Mafia even considered staying in balcony to cover him.
I don't know. It was very, very free.
Very uncharacteristic from Mafia, if we could say that. And you know, you try not to read too much into it because it is just one best of 5, but I think we've seen the signs from past seasons. If you have like these kind of moments where you struggle against a team that maybe you ought not to, it's like, it's not a good sign of your team's form as you build up towards the playoffs, right? But you know, at this early point in the season, we can't really say where anyone stands. Apart from I think like the only team we could say that like looks confidently good is probably W, based on the way that they dispatched of both Cashback and Hit and Run. But it is going to be Himmels as our tiebreaker.
I mean, we still favor Mafia, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's tiebreaker. The nerves are going to be up a little bit because you're thinking, oh, we can actually, Lotus, they'll be thinking, oh, we can actually beat them. We could actually win. And usually that's just where the more calm and composed team that's got more experience could come in clutch. But, you know, it's best of 5. Anything's possible.
I mean, Lotus picking up 2 points here would be massive.
It definitely would be.
It would keep things very spicy as well.
It would probably be the biggest upset so far, right? More so than CTR beating Weekend.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, Mafia. You could say so. So, you still think Mafia takes it?
Yeah. I think you would be a fool to doubt the informed team, the reigning champions of OLS and WCI. But, you know, it's just one match. It's just one round. There's no reason that Lotus can't win.
I mean, if Lotus wins this, then, you know, we're getting a lot of upsets early on.
Yeah, it's definitely going to jumble up the order a bit if that is the case. And I think that just makes it even more exciting, to be honest, because it just makes the predictions even harder. Like, a lot of the time we just go for the 3-0s because we just think a team is in a different class compared to their opponent. But if that doesn't prove to be the case from what we've seen in the early season, then that bodes well for the rest of the league. Lotus trying to snatch away this tiebreaker win with double BZ, IS7, 140, and triple Blisker.
Mafia, quad BZ, a 140, a Forge B, and an E4, a tiebreaker, an unexpected one between Lotus and Mafia. But who will take it? That is the question of the day.
4 BZs against Bliskers. I do quite like the Bliskers in this situation, and they are grouping over towards the 8th line, but Mafia doesn't want anything to do with it. Profuse is going into his default opening with his 140, just gets a bit of early chip damage from this position pretty much every time, but Lotus, the ones taking all the damage at the moment as they move in towards the central part of the map. But the triple Bliskovica, at the moment they're unspotted. Potentially, based on the timing, if they just wait for a second, they might be able to cross unlit. But the key factor here is, look, there's a Foch B on the hill, or is going towards the hill.
Kono will need to back off from that almost immediately though, because these Bliskavitsas don't seem to stop the 140 peak now. Getting a shot as well. Konrad looking for one. Doesn't find it, and I don't think the second BZ found it either. Now Tuka continuing on towards Orchek, who's already waiting there in his E4. Pops the ability. Takes one. Will take the second as well. So Botsik and Tuka combining. But look on the south side, guys. Look at that Fosh B. He is the unknown factor. Rex are coming in as well in his BZ75, and now Kono revealing himself in the side. Tuka can do nothing about this. He didn't know, he didn't see, and he will now be in the grave. And Kono blocking Botsik as well, eliminating not one but double Bliskavitsa with that Fosh B flank, and the rest of the Lotus team now moving on towards Konrad and Marcel. They find themselves a decent overmatch though, picking up double BZ75, but they did lose a double Bliskavitsa, and they lose one more BZ75 as well, and Mafia seem to be in position right now to take the game away as well, as Kono still has 7 seconds left on reload. When he comes back in, he surely will shut down the rest of this Lotus side. The Forge B on its victory march, you could say. Gonna pop the ability in a second or two as well. Level 3, that is a Menens Rexar, using him as a shield, and Lotus still trying to do the best they can. It's a 4-on-4, but Kono is such a hard thing to overcome. Profuse picks up Twist. Kono wants to get Sokol, but Orchek will do it, help him out a little bit. And 2 tanks left standing for Lotus. They fought hard, but they will not be walking away with the lion's share of the points. It's gonna be 2 for Mafia and 1 for Lotus.
I stand by my prediction. I had faith in Mafia all along. 3-2 in Tiebreaker. I think, you know, just that little bit of inexperience in the end from Lotus, just like continuing the push, just running with the playbook rather than adapting to what was in front of them. But to be fair, like, you know, even up to a certain point, it didn't look that bad for them. Much like the first Pilsen game, all the way back in round number 1, it really was Kono the difference maker. And you know, we don't assign MVPs to individual like matches, but Kono definitely is the standout performer for Mafia in this one, both on Pilsen and the Fosh B at the end here.
No, Kono was the undoing for Lotus there. You know, Jordan did a really good amount of damage in this game though. 6.5k with that Bliskavitsa, just hitting basically everything, I think.
Yeah, and we know, like, Bliskavitsa, I think I was quite surprised to learn that it is actually the highest DPM tank at tier 10, which seems crazy, but when you think about it, 10-second reload with 800 alpha, if you're at point blank range and just allowed to continue to fire over and over and over again, he hit 8 out of 8 shots, so the damage really does rack up. And the best thing about Bliskavitsa is most of the time people just want to ignore you as well, because they would rather shoot something that's quicker to kill.
Yeah, just yeah, but Kono comes in at Fosh B, and even if the game is kind of even, the Fosh B makes sure that the game swings the other way, right? When it comes in with level 3 ability and 6 shells, it's just basically unkillable.
Yeah, that definitely is the case, but that's enough of that. Match number 3 of the day is done and dusted. We'll find out what happens in the last match of the day between CTR and Vulgus, potentially already like a do or die match for both of these teams. Some good points to pick up, and we will find out what happens after some replays.
Welcome back once more to the Surfshark Onslaught Legends Series Season 5. Phil, you and me going to finish off the last match here. CTR versus Volgus. One team coming off a high, the other one coming off a low. CTR, I mean, they're pretty happy.
Yeah, I mean, and happy should be anyone that decides to go for the Surfshark promo code surfshark.com/OLS to get 4 months of extra Surfshark services. As we might have said already, or maybe for the people that haven't tuned in at that point, Surfshark is a VPN service and our sponsor for the OLS Season 5. We partnered up with them and got you this great promo activity. Ducky, you have used Surfshark. Moff said it as well already. You can't go wrong with them. You can use it on unlimited devices, PC, phone, tablet. It's super easy to set up. You can have a really like private and protected gaming experience, traveling, or just like everyday browsing. It's fast, it's reliable, and it works like really, it works everywhere. I've used it in Asia and I've used it in Europe, and it's great. Like I can't really say more about that. I think it's a very good fit for our activity here. Lots of gamers that are using the internet for different topics, and Surfshark will make sure that you always have a good time on the internet.
And most importantly, it doesn't keep logs, so privacy is its main priority. Now though, CTR versus Volgus. Talked about it a little bit. CTR coming off that high, right? That big win. Volgus, well, big low because big defeat, where they probably felt like they could have brought it to a tiebreaker but neglected to do so. Now, if CTR beats Volgus here, that is some very important points as well.
Yeah, I mean, both of those teams came in with the expectation that they would struggle to make this like line of top 5 or top 4. The guys look very confident on their pictures. A bunch of players that have been there for quite some tournaments in the past already, especially names like Frawley come to mind with even some WGL experience. And obviously a bunch of Clan Showdown players and previous teams. I think Herman has even played OLF on North American competitions. But yeah, the team of CTR with a victory over Weekend. Now the team of Volgus, a bunch of Hungarian players. You can see the flags there. And on the left side, the German flag, and then the like kind of like tilted German flag with a bit of mixed up colors. Sam, I think he hasn't played yet, but maybe he'll make his appearance as well. Also, a lot of experience there. Dani and some of the guys have played, I think, first with Bobbers and with Conquest, or the other way around. Definitely also experience there. Frawley, one of their main Inspire tank player, coming in with 3.2k damage during the Winter Invitational. Today will be the last day where we are using the Winter Invitational stats. I think after 2 match days, we'll have enough data to continue with a fresh set of stats. But yeah, stats-wise, CTR also the favorite here by the community.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's also just down to the way that both teams performed in their first matchup, right? Leading into what people believe is going to happen. But what's going to happen is we're going to get Cliff as the very first map.
Yeah, I mean, Cliff into Himmelsdorf. To me, interesting to see that, like, neither of the teams banned Ruinberg immediately, nor Tundra. So the option would have been there for either team to pick one of those newer maps. They ended up being banned in the tiebreaker decision-making process, but Cliff and Himmelsdorf, definitely 2 maps that I like to see.
I'm really excited for Cliff between these two, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Cliff, we saw on the match between Hit and Run versus W, a bunch of different things. And I feel like it's one of those maps that has survived beyond any aging of time. 15 versus 15, attack, defense, now onslaught, always like a map that people really enjoy playing, enjoy seeing as well because of the fast-paced action. So yeah, can't wait to jump into the game and have a at least 2 rounds of this, and then let's see how many rounds of Himmelsdorf or potentially Muravanka.
Prediction-wise, all of us going for 3-1 except for Banter, who is going for a 3-2 victory for CTR.
Yeah, I mean, I think we shouldn't count out Vulgos completely, and nobody went for a 3-0. That's just fair. They got a pretty good round. I think it was on Pilsen, where they had this overpush onto Mafia on match day 1. But yeah, it's definitely possible that, especially on maps like Cliff, where you can definitely have some surprises or good rotations, pick up a round here early, and maybe push the whole thing to a tiebreaker as Manta expected.
I mean, it's possible for that to be the case, for sure. Why not?
No.
But
and now we are loading in. Let's take a look at the lineups, because you mentioned it before. Different strategies of different teams make Cliff very interesting.
Lineups number 1 though, between CTR and Vulgus. Vulgus, Triple BZ, an E50M, double CS63, and an Object 140.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this Type 5 stays, but it could be a thing that you kind of like combine a bit more heavy anchoring with some shooting towards the ramp. We see the 114 SP2 and 50B combination, and I have to say that's also one thing that I like about new teams coming into the league, is that there's a lot of like creativity and innovation sometimes. This is obviously something that we'll not see every round, but I'm curious to see how it turns out. For the people that are not familiar with the 114 SP2, maybe give them a summary.
114 SP2, it's a tank compared to the Gorilla, has lower alpha, better DPM, and of course a more forward turret, which allows it to be a little bit more flexible in a lot of positions as well. But it gets the same ability as the Gorilla though.
Yeah, lots of damage actually taken there by both the medium tanks, dropping to roughly 2.2, 2.3 each, and now the shots are coming in. Vulgus dropping to 20,000 HP roughly. Ole now as well taking another shot. The 50B putting in 2, misses the third one, but I think the important one was the Patras shot for like 850 from the corner.
The double BC there overpeaking a little bit and taking a lot of damage for it. So King of the Hill is CTR. Evo taking some damage there in the 50B. Patras in the backline still covering out, but now the RHM is hunting. Kodicek is going to go sneak towards probably the A6 positions, and when he does, he will be the undoing of that hurricane on the ramp.
Yeah, I think it's very important to basically point out that, further good shots here by the 50B, puts in another one, and I think now the Hurricane position is definitely a big issue. Down to 40, but there is a strike, I think, from Frawley. If he uses that one, he could pick up Ole. Ole gets spotted, and the strike is being deployed. He doesn't really have anywhere to go. Good team coordination and good first kill.
Yep, that's what I said, that tank there out of position altogether for the side of Vulgus, and now it's a big problem.
Yeah, as well, they kind of want to push somewhere, like Vulgus, because they need to kind of like balance out the tank difference, but you don't want to push the 50B because it has the sniper support and the type can help. You don't want to really re-push the north because there isn't anything that you can kind of like find, because the light tank will outspot you and it's too fast as well. And then, as everyone knows, re-pushing from the donut into the cap can be very, very expensive.
It is... how do they actually approach this though, Phil?
I mean, I guess they could use the second rotation of strike. That was
not
too... I mean, the moment the second line of shots came in, I was like, if he makes it through, that's not too bad. But yeah, you trade off against the 50B. The 50B had done some significant damage at the beginning already. Now Garver coming in. If he makes it there, that's not too bad of a start. I actually had a similar idea when you said like maybe they can like use the info tower, put some attention towards the south, and then like sneakily repush the north because Floki was not holding the angle. But looking at the HPs, Vulgus is still down, and now the push is only coming. So let's see how much damage more they will have to take.
Immediately a shot coming out from Patras as well with the 114 SP2. There's a small gap. He hits it because of the ability on the crossing. Kunik and Dani now moving through. But where do they go? The RHM of Kudicek is still in position in the back lines. What can they even do? What can they even achieve? They're kind of marching into no man's land. They have nobody to push on. Patras still holding angle. If Garva decides to go up, it's going to be a big 1k to the face. Well, 875 with a big old HC shell from the Type 5 Heavy. Coming in as well. That hurts MB in the meantime, repushing Kotticek. They're trying to pick up this RHM Panzerwagen, but I think it's going to be a trade-off. At best case scenario, a trade-off. It's not even going to be that. Kotticek fades away once more. And Vulgus in round 1 can forget about the aspirations they had of winning this first round, because it's going to be CTR with a slower approach that's going to be picking up battle number 1.
No, and I think this exactly slow approach that you mentioned will work very nicely out for them. They have the time now to basically collect all their HP. It's an important thing to mention that they have the HP on the tanks that are not immediately in the fighting line. So the Type 5 first needs to get in, so does the tank destroyer, but the HP difference is so significant by now. Even without those tanks, they would probably still be up in guns and HP.
So good stuff there from the side of CTR. I mean, probably Vulgus, when they're training, they mainly play against aggressive cliffs. The more passive cliff is a bit rarer, you know?
Yeah, and I think like that's also like a time right now to give a shout out to, I think it's Kotticek, who is the like strategist and field commander of CTR. This was the second time in just like 1.5 play days where CTR is kind of like coming in with some really creative ideas. This push that we had on, I think it was Tundra, towards the cap circle was also very nice. You might remember we had basically 3 tanks pushing towards the cap circle there, and then trying to get a good angle onto the positions from the lower side. But yeah, good stuff from them. Very creative with the 114 SP2. So working out for them very well as well. Great damage from him, 5.3k damage. I'm not sure if the 114 SP2 was like too relevant now, but as you mentioned, there were at least 2 shots that came in when it mattered. So good stuff by the tank destroyer player as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is. He only needs to hit those shots, right? That's the ones you rely on him.
Yeah, he had 4 shots in total, like 3.5 with 4 shots.
I think he did what he was supposed to do. He cannot do much more than this, right?
No, I mean, as well, like the 50B Evo, he did 7-7. So obviously, like sometimes you miss some shots onto the ramp. He did 10-7-7, but still, it's like he did 4 shells on sniping, and then he did a second clip basically when he got pushed by, I think it was Why Am I Spotted in the BZ. And I mean, you saw it as well, like the BZ did 1 shot of damage, that was the kill shot, 500 damage, and that was it.
CTR, was it you that said when things are going well, they look great? Or was it Moff or Kihan? Which one of you said it?
Doesn't sound like something I would say, but I mean, everyone looks great when they're winning, right?
True, very true.
Yeah, it was Moff.
Probably was Moff. But so far, you know, they're looking really good into the start of this league. If they pick up the win here against Vulgus and pick up the points as well, that orientates them already pretty decently towards stage 2, right?
Yeah, I mean, stage 2 is top 6. That would mean they would need to leave behind Vulgus plus potentially Lotus. But Weekend as well on 0 points so far. So they have the chance of making not only top 6, but maybe top 5. And obviously top 4 would be best case for the playoffs.
Yeah, and also beating one of their direct contenders, right, for this position on the 6-7 position, or that 5th could be Volgas. And if they beat them without giving Volgas a point, that is huge going further. So winning here for CTR is more meaningful than you might even imagine.
Yeah, and especially like picking up points early gives you this like wiggle room where you don't have to be like super under pressure or stress coming into like both the cutoffs of top 6 and top 4. And yeah, I'm happy for new teams to perform well, because often, aside from weekend, we have seen teams that came into the league and then kind of like got out as quickly as they got in.
What are we expecting for the second round? Maybe CTR switching it up now, going a little bit more aggressive after this.
I mean, I can tell you that Sam is playing, so...
Wow. Wow.
If that gives you any clues, then feel free to share them with me now.
I don't know. Maybe they need some Belgian superpower. Just they're using the wrong Belgian. Volgas.
I mean, I have the Belgian superpower, right?
Yep, exactly. Volgas, 4 BZs, a 140, 3 BZs, a CS, a 140, and double Bliskavice.
Yeah, looks like CTR is kind of running it back. Similar lineup, but not the same. You remember we had 2 CS in the first round, so now they're coming again with a 114 SP2, the 50B. They have a BZ, a type as well again, but they bring a 140 for inspiration and a Batchat Crazy War, also a player that hasn't played on day 1, if I remember correctly.
I don't think so either, but the plane was good from Koticek, spot 7. So they know exactly what's happening. And CTR again with the slower approach with the 114 SP. Can they do it once more? Volgas, do they run into it yet again? That's a good question. Double BZ moving towards the ramp now, 140 behind. Koticek takes 1 shot from a Bliskavice, 631. Again with this Type 5, again with this 114. Marash is on the corner, but if they go up now, it will again be painful.
Look how far the 50B is already. That's kind of the position that you play on the other side usually.
Yeah, Evo just driven straight through in towards the base, and the damage is significant. Sem getting tracked as well, the Batshot giving shots. It's all set up for this. Sem taking some more, Garva taking some more, even the 50B from the base already getting shots on towards the back lines. That's Sem taking 2 from behind. He goes D-spotted there for a second, but down towards the 1 shot now. Evo on the full reload. Koticek on the top of the hill. I don't think he's too worried right now about what could happen. Why am I spotted? 1991 to the face, and Crazy War already off of reload with the ability as well. Why am I spotted? Taking some more down towards 446, and he's dead. Volkas dead in the water in this matchup. Cliff does not seem to be the name of the game. They're down 7,000 HP, and again.
Yeah, I mean, Evo, good decision making. He had the BZs on the hill out of render, so he continued firing onto the BZ in the middle, eliminating a target immediately. Now another good pickup there by Cody. He takes a shot in his face, but still fairly healthy, so that is not the biggest of his concerns. Now Manix coming up as well, and CTR is looking pretty good here.
I mean, CTR is looking amazing. They're gonna walk.
Was that like 950 again from Patras? Like, I think I saw Gava peeking over with like 1.5.
Could very well be. I mean, at this point, it's so over. It's so tough. Not once, but twice CTR finds success with this one. It's really tough if Volgas just running onto the stake, not once, not twice, and Marash even running onto the ground with his head first. Yeah, that's a quick forget about this one.
Yeah, I mean, jokes aside, I think it is really nice to see that CTR coming in such dominant fashion. I wouldn't count Vulgus out immediately because we'll switch maps and it will be a bit of a different territory. But great to see that CTR manages to be successful with this strategy of kind of like a cheese strategy, but like something like more, let's call it like new or innovative. So yeah, great for them, and happy that like this kind of like practice of unusual things paid out for them.
It's also ended up working twice, Phil, which is the more worrisome factor. Volgas in first round, you know, it's like, okay, they play against the 114. The second one, maybe you should predict that there will be some shenanigans like this happening. And they run against it again, especially the light, giving the info that something is up, driving on the ramp then. It's maybe a little bit too simple. And CTR, it was a good approach for them. They pick it up a quick 2-0. They're very happy, right? Already guaranteeing at least a point.
Yeah, and they already picked up good points at the first playday. The superpower from Belgium, I think we can both agree that it's sitting on the casting desk and not playing today.
Wow.
Sam, only 2 shots of damage, but yeah. Overall damage numbers not looking too great. The Brishka doing 555 for Ola and MV as well. Decent damage in the Hurricane, but again, 114 SP2, 666 shooting, 3 kills picked up, and bad shot as well. A great performance there from Crazy War.
And that bad shot was ideal for this. You know, he gives his shots on them driving on the hill, and then he gets to reload and do it once more. Onto where White spotted.
I was just like looking at the pen rates and so on. Like, I mean, Evo had 1 missed shot in the 50B. I don't think you can blame him on this distance. But aside from that, like Crazy War in the bad chat, 14-13. Floki in the 114 shooting 11-11-11. Patras perfect shooting. Vudok perfect shooting. Manix in the BZ 5-5 as well. And I mean, Cody bounced 1 in the RHM, but I don't think that's any relevant. So really great game from CTR, also from the individuals, not just tactics.
Himmel's now coming up. Not really a map where you can play that slow though.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're comfortable playing the Type 5, then you can play that on Himmelsdorf maybe as well.
I mean, yeah, but...
We saw, I think, like the slowest tank that we saw in terms of like gameplay and also speed of the tank was E3 that a couple of teams have played, even during WCI. But I have to say, I didn't really like it. It is nice as an anchoring tank. It has great like defensive capabilities if you want to kind of like stop a push or something. But then you also don't have the very greatest DPM, mobility, no turret. So the E4 usually gives you a bit more flexibility. Anything crazy that you think we haven't seen on Himmelsdorf?
No, I don't think so. Maybe Jagdpanzer at some point. We haven't seen it yet. I guess you could pick it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like a WZTD. But I feel like it's better on Ensk where it has like the longer corridors and doesn't have to peak corners because the traverse isn't that great. Talking about tanks, do you feel like with the new tier 11 tanks we are getting to the stage where there's enough variety for tier 11 to basically be considered for, like, for instance, 15 versus 15 competitions?
Not quite yet, I think.
No, I think there are like some niche tanks that are still kind of missing, but it's getting pretty interesting on tier 11 for anyone that hasn't played the new tanks. I feel like the WZTD on tier 10 is definitely a shout out. No, on tier 11, sorry.
Yeah, it's a very good tank actually. This is very true.
Okay, lineups. 2 bad shots for CTR. That is usually not slow play. Floki in the 140 again. We have an E4 and triple heavy tank, of which one is an IS4 and double Type 5. Vulgos with triple BZ, a 140 and triple Bliskavitze. I would say the Bliskers are great against types and the BZs not so much.
No, I don't think so.
I feel like the BZs are also really bad against the IS4.
Like, yes, because
sure,
it's annoying.
In theory you can trade 1-for-1 beneficially, but like IS4 is never trading 1-for-1. It's always like either hull down or side scraping or both. So that's a nasty tank to play against if you're a BZ.
The BZ has a lot of tanks that it kind of struggles against, to be honest.
There you see, like he tried to kind of like track him around the corner, but there it is. IS-4 side scraping is a very tough one. Looks like the push is kind of like coming in on the 2-3 line combined. Triple Bliska. I'm not sure if they have understood that there's like 8.5k HP sitting with the types. Vudok is being focused out now, but Garver does not have the DPM. There's double batchet from the hill. This looks pretty good for CTR, who are already up 3k HP.
I mean, Volgas is running headfirst into the IS-4, into the double type. These are the tanks we talked about would be annoying for their lineup with those BZ-75s. Garva in a 1v1 against Floki, Kodicek and Menix now looking for that BZ-75 of MV. Why am I spotted already in the grave? Crazy War will die, but not before he lets one more shot loose on towards MV. Another type 5s re-pushing. They gotta be careful though, because that is the tank that does deal well with this kind of meat. The Bliskavitze, with its infinite DPM almost, is gonna chew through those type 5s. They gotta be careful that Kodicek has not overextended, because right now Menix will fall. Kodicek looking for MV is trying to drive over him as well, mounting him, even that poor little BZ. He finds the kill on Dani and the Bliskavitz, and Kodicek selling his life pretty expensive. CDR, can they converge though? They're 4v4 now, and Marash is actually kind of stuck on the outside of that factory, getting a shot from Evo as well. Woodog needs to be careful with Floki. Marash re-pushing, tries to get the shot, the swing, the miss, the whiff. Ola now looking for Woodog in the IS-4. He will find it. Good peek there from Ola. 4v3 now for Volgas. Patras finding a kill though, and Evo finding the track on towards Ola, but decides not to re-peek it. And Patras now getting the strike. MV on towards the 2-shot. Volgas and CTR 3v3, but CTR with a definite advantage.
Yeah, I think it's both positions, tanks and HP. I mean, the double batchet in the later stages of the game. They don't have the... Oopala. Patras taking a big one from MV. Releasing the strike immediately. That would make him a one-shot for either of the fairly low alpha tanks. But Patras himself is a one-shot as well now.
Marash looking. Will he take a shot from Evo? Yes, he will. Evo hits it on the first. Can Evo get it on the second? He will as well. And Patras makes the peak. The double angle coming in, the crossfire, 2-on-1. Marash goes down, and Ola and Envy, the last two standing, and CTR dominating performance from them in this one. Again, Patras and Evo combining in a two-way crossfire. Envy the last one standing, but CTR will pick up all 3 points and will not even drop around, although this one, Phil, became awfully close, and I think those type 5s got a little bit overeager at some point, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. CTR takes it away.
Yeah, I mean, CTR, well done. Very convincing victory. We said that they were coming off a very good first match day where they converted against Weekend. But now again, very great stuff. 3-0. I think we didn't have any 3-0s today, right?
No. I mean, yeah, we did. Yeah. Just now.
Yeah, aside from that, I mean, we had tiebreakers. We had the 3-1 earlier between the Ukrainian teams. But CTR should be sitting very comfortably now on the top of the table.
I mean, for CTR, it's amazing. Their first 2 play days in, they've won twice already. They're really looking good for phase 2. I'm gonna be honest with that. I think like one more. I need to check what was the minimum points last season for phase 2, but I think like 1.5 more wins will get them there, roughly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, in the end, it's also a matter of kind of like stealing the games against the opponents that are hoping to get some points against you.
First phase. Oh, wait, no. That's the regular season. How many points did the team have in the first phase? Yeah, like roughly like above 6 points would have been enough last season, because Vortex was 7 with 6 points.
No. Again, great stuff here. I mean, we can see the 2 tanks that survived the longest, Ola and MV, quite with good damage numbers still. But yeah, the Type 5s, they're kind of like there to bully the way back in, charging into this repush. They both took a bunch of shots from all directions, healed a bit each other, still did okay-ish damage, and then everyone else higher in the damage numbers. It wasn't that much of an easy game for CTR as maybe the other ones. But with both batchets performing as well, Patras 13 and 12 and Evo 13-13, great shooting there, the 140 as well, picking up some strikes for extra pressure in the end. CTR, as I mentioned, leading the charge, only team with 6 points.
Actually, time for them to take a screenshot of that. They have 6 points, where 6 or 7, 6-7 points is going to be enough to get them into phase 2. If it was last season, right? That was the cutoff. So one more game, Phil, and I feel that they're already looking at that lock-in for phase 2. It also depends a little bit on how everybody does against each other, right? Where you currently see on position 6 and 7 is Lotus and Weekend, but it's still so early to really be looking at those bottom positions about who's going to make it into phase 2. In, let's say, 2 matches, we'll have like a pretty good idea who's going to be around that position.
Yeah, and I think an important thing to mention is as well, like, we saw it multiple times that after making the cutoff for top 6, we had teams like Yogurt in the past, or in earlier seasons like Darkside, that was just not close enough to the top 4 or even top 5, and kind of like dwindling behind. So yeah, coming in with some good points at the beginning will give you a good start into the second half of the season as well. Like laying the fundamentals.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all the points you pick up now, in phase 2, everything gets so much tougher, to be honest, which will start on the 10th of February. Everything will get so much tougher. The matches become tougher. Teams are getting more well-trained. They also start to predict how everybody's going to play, right? More
and like teams like Weekend that they won against, I think 3-1 at the beginning, like winning against them in a best of 7 will be, again, like a different task, right?
Yeah, for sure. So for CTR, you know, Cloud9, man, very good for them, very happy for them, proving that the lower leagues, they are working at the very least. And Lotus as well, you know, going to Tiebreaker today against Mafia shows some signs of potential.
No, for sure.
Who knows what they could do. Of course, you can still boost the prize pool as well with the bundles. Again, if you're not certain yet who to predict for, don't worry. You have some time, basically, until the playoffs happens. You have time to purchase the Oracle bundle. 100% of the proceedings goes towards the OLS, which means that all of the money goes towards the teams in question. And if you do end up being right, you get an upgraded style and badge, which looks honestly very good as well. For your token earnings, today you could have earned 5 tokens, which means your total would have been 10. And we have one more stream this week on Sunday with another 5. And of course, mark in your calendars those playoffs on the 21st and the 22nd of February with double tokens, 10 plus 10. Big days, especially there.
Yeah, I mean, the token store is filled with plenty of nice things. 3D customization, 2D customization, even premium tanks or some days of premium. I think it's really nice that we have seen this progression of the whole league system with second league teams coming up. As you mentioned, CTR, they were a couple of times already playing in the OCS, but we also have an extra match on Sunday, which will be played between the teams of Bander from mostly Ukraine, I think, and the international team Beton. So the OCS Rising match on Sunday will also feature those teams and give them kind of like their chance to show off on the big stage, plus get some extra money. But I guess that's it for today. Thanks again to our sponsor and partner, Surfshark. Daki, thanks to you as well for casting with me. Any last words for today?
Check number 1, I guess. So far.